Hello and welcome to the Friday night social. Hope everyone's feeling groovy this evening. Who have we got in the chat? We've got One Angry Pagan in there. We've got Scott is in there. We've got Diz as well. Who else have we got? We've got evening everyone, says Jenny Davis. I realised that I just ran the video, Mike, for the Sunday night social. So it just came up for Sunday night social. Everyone's going to be really, really confused now.
Is it Friday or Sunday? What's going on?
It's.
I mean, at the very least, it's still social. That's good.
Oh my word! Well, okay, that's a bit embarrassing. Right, while I try and find the actual intro sequence for Friday night, I'll just say I'm Graham Hughes, Mike Diggs, and you can say hello to everyone in the chat.
I'll say hello to Sarah Davis. Hello, Sarah, and Jan Wallace, and Scott, and Lee, and Pete's Music, and Person Impersonator. That's a new one. I've not seen you in the
I love that name. That's so cool.
It's a great name.
Person Impersonator.
Golf Marine, Hayden Puds.
Oh.
For those of you asking if I'm all right, thank you very much. I've had a much better end of the week than the beginning of the week, so it's getting better. But start treatment again next Tuesday.
Ooh.
So they'll just send me backwards again for 3 weeks. But,
well, people have been asking about oh, hang on. Oh no, my computer's kind of crashed. Oh no, it's okay. It's back. People have been asking about Rachel. Rachel actually appeared on a show this week. I did an episode of Weather for Carwy, and Rachel was on it, which is really cool. Yeah. There you go. Oh, here we go. I've got it. I've got the intro. Okay, can I run the intro again? Can we just pretend that
Let's just pretend we're starting again.
Yes, pretend we're starting again. Here we go. Here's the intro. Yes, it says Friday. Yay. Woo. It says Friday night social.
Excellent. It's Friday night. Excellent.
Hayden Bud saying, what the hell's going on?
I'm going to go to work tomorrow morning. That's brilliant.
Welcome to the Friday night social. I'm Graham Hughes. Tonight we're joined by Mike Dix and you, obviously watching at home. If you would like to join in the chat, all you need to do is hit that lovely ripe subscribe button and then wait about 30 seconds and then you'll be able to join the chat. But don't be a knob or we will mute you and then boot you. So we're going to go through some of the mad shit that's happened this week. I mean, it was only a week ago that the disastrous meeting in the Oval Office, the ambush of Trump and JD Vance.
Oh, God, it's only a week ago.
That was 1 week ago, and a lot has happened since then. A lot has happened. It's been a lot, hasn't it? It's been a lot.
It's just full on, isn't it?
I'm exhausted.
And then you get up in the morning and you look at the news and he's completely reversed his position on something. You go, oh Jesus, just
pick a
make
lane.
Your mind up.
Pick a
Be
lane.
A complete arsehole, but in the right lane. Yeah, exactly. Like, yesterday it was all Canada and Mexico were putting the tariffs back on, and then you wake up in the morning and you go, no, we're not. No, we're not doing the tariffs.
Not doing that. Nope. That was very silly.
The one thing businesses constantly say, the thing you hear repeated over and over again about business and politics is that business likes stability and the ability to plan ahead.
Yeah.
And if on Thursday you're planning for tariffs, 25% tariffs if you're a Canadian company, and on Friday you're not doing tariffs anymore, I think it's just hopeless. Everything is just going to collapse in a mess over there, and it's going to affect us. It's going to have a huge impact on us.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about NATO, because obviously there's been a lot of talk about the fact that the US is dropping out of NATO. But what shouldn't be forgotten is that without the US, there's still 31 countries, other countries in NATO. There's still a standing army of those member nations of over 1 million soldiers. 1 million. Compared to what Russia's got, we would crush them like a bug if we went in.
And also, I think, do you watch? There's a YouTube channel called Lines on Maps. It's an Australian.
Sounds good though.
It really worth watching. It's an Australian military academic, and he basically, his argument is always that all wars are about lines on maps and how they shift.
Yeah.
Right. And he's been doing great stuff on Ukraine over the years, but he did one the other day, which was about the United Nations, about NATO, and what would happen if America pulled out. And the really interesting thing that I hadn't really considered was that he did a tour of the NATO building and he explained how NATO works. And it's essentially just a political it's not a military organization.
No.
The NATO headquarters is a parliament, effectively.
Yes, effectively, yeah.
For defense ministers. And all you do is you shut down the American wing.
Yeah.
And all the other countries carry on talking to each other, basically. And you push America out with North Korea and Russia. But there's a building in Brussels where aligned organizations are allowed to meet. And you just push America out there and put them in the crappy old 1950s temporary offices that they used to have instead of the big wing they've got now. But yeah, you know, the military is the military. The big issue, I think, technically, is that America has seen to it that we use their satellites, their communication systems, their command and control.
Yeah.
And getting around that is not a quick fix.
It's not a quick fix, but I mean, we've got 4 years before Trump.
Well, I also noticed that Finland cancelled an order for American missiles this week and placed it with Norway instead, who've been building up a capacity to create the same missiles. So
fantastic. Oh well, you know, good. I mean, that's shit. I don't want anyone spending money on bloody weapons, but
no,
this is a situation we're in. We've got to be realistic. Trump has done an absolute number on his allies, and he's aligned his government with that of the government of the Kremlin. We've had a few super chats coming already. Oh, by the way, it's Mike's birthday this week. Am I allowed to tell people it's your birthday this weekend?
No, you're not supposed to mention that.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry. It's Mike's birthday this weekend. He's going to be 21 again. You don't look it.
I'm going to be 58.
No, don't say it. You'll jinx it.
58.
You're not 58. Piss off. What?
They say that you're only as old as the woman you feel.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend is 58. So
okay.
That's exactly how old I feel.
Okay, fair enough. my girlfriend's a year, well, she's not a year younger than me. At the moment, for like a month and a half, she's 45 and I'm 46.
Important to note that mine is
we were in the same
3 weeks older than me.
Yeah.
She won't thank me for saying that she's older. So.
Your little toy boy. Got yourself a cougar, weeks. Mate. Got yourself a cougar.
Yeah.
So just a big shout out to Ivan Ambrose, first of all. Thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Alternatives to benefit cuts, tax the bankers properly again. Yep. Stop the watering down of clamping down on non-doms. Yep. Couldn't agree more. We were talking about this with Phil earlier on the agenda, and his take is like, you can do more damage because what happens is the people with the money, they can move the money really easily. Like in the past, it wasn't that
Phil was talking about doing it on property.
Property taxes. Property can't move. You know, businesses can't move. It seems ridiculous to me that businesses that are established in the UK and they employ people in the UK and they take money off people in the UK end up paying no tax because where they are located is in another country. And America doesn't have this problem because the IRS will tax you no matter where you make your money. If you're an American company, you get taxed. End of.
Yeah, exactly. And it strikes me that there ought to be a windfall tax on the arms companies that we're about to give big orders to as well.
Absolutely.
You know, there's quite a few companies in Northern Ireland and Stevenage that I think will be benefiting enormously from the next 4 years.
Anyway, Caravan Lad, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Caravan Lad says, keep it up, Mike. Got to keep it up. And then Ivan Ambrose is in there saying, thank you very much, and a proper land tax. I was about to say a proper property tax, but yeah, and a proper land tax. We were talking about like the logistics behind that. Phil made a really good point, which is it's dead complicated. That's why we've not done it before. But now with AI,
because the right wing, I was watching your show. It was very good this afternoon, and it did strike me that if I was the Daily Mail editor, I'd play it as they're coming after your backyard.
Yeah,
they're gonna tax you because you've got a garden and a garage. Basically, that's the way they'll play it out, because that's the way they play out. You know, you want your kids to go to private school, so you should all be angry that we're having to pay VAT for our kids at private school. You know,
I can't tell you how I shared this morning on the Politics social group. Well, Tan actually shared a thing with what's his name, and Alexander Armstrong.
Oh God, yeah.
And he's like saying he's got no money, and I'm looking at this picture going, "You're wearing a cravat. You're wearing a cravat. How are you sitting there going, I'm actually exceptionally poor."
I'm really disappointed with Labour. I'm quite poor, and I can't afford to put my kids through private school when they put VAT on it. The man's on telly 5 days a week on one of the most popular daytime.
The shittest quiz show of all time. I'm struggling to think of a shitter quiz show. Maybe Eggheads. Eggheads proper did my head in, because like in The Chase, you got
Eggheads is Eggheads the one where it's people that do quiz shows?
Yeah, versus people who are just bots, right?
Yeah.
And
so meta.
The Chase is just like, especially when they're doing the final round, which I love. Where they've got 20 questions usually each for the team, and then 20 questions for the chaser. It's brilliant. It's like 15-1 again. Just bang, 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 straight through the questions. No fucking about. Yeah. I mean, Eggheads and Pointless, they just spend half the time talking to each other, and then they discuss the answer to the question. It's like, basically, what is the capital of France? And someone says, it's Paris. And they go, oh, have you ever been to Paris? Oh, yeah, I've been to Paris. Oh, and you're sitting there going, is this a quiz show, or we just listen to posh people discuss? They are
quiz shows are 3-act plays, though. I used to know people that made quiz shows, and they always described them as a 3-act play. And what you need to do is, in the first act, you need to build up a relationship with the characters, so that by the time you get to the jeopardy of the final, you care about one or other of the finalists.
Yeah, I get that, but like, I go when I'm watching The Chase, I'll go over when the adverts are on to Pointless. And they never ask a question the whole 5 minutes of the ads. There's just no questions asked. It's just like,
but it's a great pitch, isn't it? As a TV show, I want to make half an hour of pointless television.
Yes, and they got it made.
What's the format? Well, it's kind of pointless.
It's kind of pointless. Really. Yeah, it's all really, really pointless. But yeah, I got a shout out on that show once from my mate Trevor was on it. And one of the questions was like, it was about countries. It was about like flags or something. And he went, "Oh, I'm going to be crap at this." My mate Graham, he's been to every country in the world, and
Can I phone a friend?
He'll be good at this. He'll be good at this. I'm like,
if I ever go on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and I get a geography question, basically.
Yeah, I'm your phone a friend.
That's the.
But what if I get it wrong? It's so much pressure.
But well, it'd be perfect because it's not my fault then. I'll have lost £1 million.
Yeah, but I'll be
bad. Blame you for the rest of my life.
But no, I if I didn't know it, I'll say I don't know, because the worst thing you could do is guess.
And then I go, I knew I should have fucking rung Michael Palin.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those though. But sometimes I'll do a quiz, and I'll be absolutely convinced that it's the right answer for something, and it's not the right answer. And then you go, oh. Yeah. So, yeah, if you have one of them, if it's just, in a barrage of 40 questions, doesn't matter. But when it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you're not entirely sure, yeah. And again,
my youngest son has been trying for quite a while to become a contestant in game shows. Oh, it's it's a competitive game, I mean, you're interviewed, they do character reference, there's all sorts of crap goes on basically to get you on there.
I don't know if they'll let me on. They let some dickheads on there who don't know anything, which is surprising, but I've applied to go on The Chase and never hear anything back.
It's entertaining.
Every few years I just send in a new application. Just say, hey, remember me? I think you're allowed to apply like once a year or something, so I try and keep my oar in or whatever. Is that the right expression? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm mates with one of the mastermind winners from 2016. Yeah. She was telling me that you get on the circuit basically. So once you start doing once you do well on one show, you'll be able to go across to another. So you start to see the same sort of faces on all these different shows.
Yeah.
Because they want people who are pretty good. They want people who know what they're talking about.
And they have rules. In between production companies, there's lists of people so that you don't get too much of that, too much of the repetition of players.
But and we're sitting here discussing how we don't like it in quiz shows when they just discuss stuff. I don't mind it in the Wheel of Fortune or something where they just say, "Oh, you're from Norwich and you."
I like how we've gone within 4 minutes from Is there a new world order, and is NATO doomed? Into what is the point of pointless?
What is the point? Someone tell us. What is the point
let's
of
try and
pointless?
fix the problems we can actually do something about, like pointless. This is how powerless we are. We can't even get that bloody show cancelled, or Mrs. Brown's Boys, basically. So I don't know what influence we're going to have over NATO. That's not going to happen, is it?
No, but the trade wars. Have you heard the latest on the trade war? Trump's put a 250% tariff on cheese, well, dairy products, which is going to make no difference at all. I mean, that's negligible, the amount of trade. But he's also put it on softwood, which is used for construction, and like
from Canada.
Yeah, and like loads of their softwood comes from Canada, so it's going to drive construction prices up, which is going to drive house prices up, and it's like, why?
I don't like to imagine that Canada manufactures much cheese in a spray can, which is what most Americans eat, isn't it?
Well, American cheese isn't worth it. It doesn't even deserve to be called cheese. It's
tariffs
disgraceful.
Tariffs is probably a good thing. We should put tariffs on that stuff.
It's so bad. I don't know how a country with so many people can't find a decent Democrat leader, and they can't find a decent way of making cheese or chocolate.
Or chocolate, yeah, ridiculous.
Mikey's going to come on now, and he's going to be like, "Fuck you! You make really good chocolate."
Oh yeah, we got to be careful. We can't sit here two Englishmen slagging off America without Mikey.
We'll get into so much trouble.
But it's not only that, he was threatening Russia with tariffs today.
He doesn't know that there's sanctions on Russia. $3 billion.
I did a cartoon this evening because Trump said Russia's got all the cards. We're heading towards World War III. So I did a cartoon of him, Putin and Zelensky playing poker, and Trump saying Russia's got all the cards, and Zelensky going, "That's because you gave them all of them." Basically,
gave them all the cards.
But then he sits there and he says, because Russia attacked Ukraine yesterday, I might put tariffs on them. And you go, you dickhead. Literally, he only attacked Kiev, and half of the drones and missiles got through to Kiev, the various cities in Ukraine that he hit, only because America switched off the satellites and the intelligence and their protection systems. So normally, they're knocking 80% of those things out of the air.
Yeah.
And then Trump says it's terrible that you're bombing the place. And you go, well, yeah, because you did that. It just doesn't seem to realize. Although I did see Ollie shared a video about Rubio standing up to Musk at the latest cabinet meeting. And Trump immediately backed down. And I think this is one of the things Starmer's playing a game on, Starmer and Macron, is I think they know, or the diplomats that were involved with Trump the last time know, that he can change his mind just like that. It's whoever's the last man in the room before the cameras switch on, basically.
Yeah.
And it seems to me he's doing that still. So he could still flip on Ukraine.
Yeah.
He could still do it,
Well, I mean,
whether you trust it or not, how long you would trust it.
Though. I mean, when you were talking earlier about businesses needing certainty, and that's one of the things that Brexit just put a wrecking ball to, because none of these businesses had certainty. If you know that this is going to happen, then you can prepare for it. Do you remember the signs that were on the fucking motorways and going up to October the 31st, 2019, where it was like, "Get ready for Brexit"?
Yeah.
How? What do you want me to do?
What am I supposed to do? Have we got what's the plan?
What's the plan? What's the plan for Brexit? And Trump's doing this, but not just for trade. He's doing it for everything. He's doing it for the world order. He's playing these fucking games and changing his mind every 5 seconds. And he's just on a mad power trip. But I think the result of this is going to be a positive in the end. In the end, we're going to have a much stronger and more united Europe than ever before. And I was just thinking, like, if Europe can get together, get the UK back into the EU sooner rather than later. I'll share a link to the petition. There's going to be a debate in Parliament on the 24th of this month. Please sign the petition, because if we get over 1 million people to sign it, that'll be a news story. Yeah. And it'll give whoever stands up in Parliament arguing that we should rejoin the EU, it'll give them a bit more of a leg to stand on. But then,
that'll be Ed Davey and the Greens, I think.
Yeah. But then also you've got the Commonwealth, which
I'm a big proponent of this. I think there's a massive opportunity for us. This is a huge opportunity
for us to get together with 55 other countries, right, around the world, including Canada, including Australia and New Zealand.
And here's the thing, and stop bloody patronising the Commonwealth as well. So,
yes.
The Queen's dead, let's get a new leader for the Commonwealth. How about we elect her fucking son? That shouldn't be happening in any way, shape or form. It needs to have some democratic elements to it, and treat everybody as equals again. And then Europe, I was reading a good thread on Twitter today that was suggested, a reporter on the inside of the EU meetings, who was saying that there's a lot of talk amongst European leaders about kicking Hungary out of the EU.
Good, do it.
Which is that's the big bullseye in Europe place. At the moment.
Yeah, we'll take that place. I mean, they don't respect democracy,
and I think it's a horrible way forward. It's like we said, look, nobody wants war. Fundamentally, it's a failure of diplomacy and politics to either need a war or a referendum. Those are the two things that are failures of politics.
Trump getting in is a failure of democracy. Democracy is a bit shonky. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Massively under threat. But I think the opportunity, and particularly the opportunity for Keir Starmer, because of the kind of leader that he is that this could rebuild a relationship with Europe, which nobody can complain about, because you look at what's happening with reform, even, and the Tories in particular. They cannot say bad. They cannot be on Putin's side. It's impossible, because the feeling in the UK will not change about the way we feel about Ukraine. So, fundamentally, he's got all-party agreement to move ahead in a European relationship. And he can do what I've been arguing for years, right back to Brexit days. I used to, for the sake of repeating myself, I think I might have said this already on camera, but essentially, I argued in 2016 that a simple argument of David Cameron going to Merkel and saying, we want it to be illegal to put towels on sunbeds in the morning in Mediterranean holiday resorts. If he'd come back with that, everyone would have gone, great, well, that's sorted out Europe, basically. Thank God for that. It would have been as simple as that. And I think in this case, you go, no, we're not joining the European Union or the Customs Union, but we are going to join the Defence Customs Union, and we are going to join the trading bloc, where we can get the best minds from Europe to come and help us build missiles and bombs to defend ourselves. And who's going to be able to argue? They're not. I
saw a comedian. This is many years ago. This is probably about over 20 years ago. One of the music festivals I was at. They have comedians at music festivals, and he was talking about how if you want to get Britain to join the Euro, they should rename the Euro the bargain, because everyone loves a bargain. Just change the name of it. Like, do you want a bargain? Yeah. How much does that cost? 5 bargains. Oh, brilliant! That's more bargains.
I've got loads of bargains.
Genius. Look at all the bargains I've got today.
In my bargain bucket.
In my bucket of bargains. So that I thought that,
It needs reselling, and a bit of jingoistic warmongering, sadly, may well do it. Arguably, it's what got Blair elected the second and third time, basically. Yeah. So Labour prime ministers did quite well out of wars. Attlee did well out of the Second World War. He got elected and built the NHS.
But he didn't. Well, I mean, he was part of the national government. So
Attlee ran the country.
Yeah, he was the head of domestic affairs, wasn't he? When
Churchill had nothing at all to do with running Great Britain at that time, just the military, really.
Yeah, but he did a decent job, even though he was a twat.
Yeah. Well, I think
credit's due.
Not allowing him to run anything else in the country was the clever part of what Attlee did, really.
Yeah.
I was watching something about that the other day. I love going back to history to look at these things. The Labour campaign in 1945 to oust Churchill after the war, the year that the war was declared over and Churchill was a national hero.
Isn't it? National hero.
And the Labour campaign was thank Winston, vote Labour. Genius. Absolute genius. Because Churchill comes out slagging Labour off. Yeah. And Labour are just going, oh, thanks very much, Winston, for what you did. Right, time to move on, old chap. Basically.
But the speed of that is just remarkable. Mikey's saying he doesn't want to join because he's feeling hostile. It's feeling like we're being hostile.
To Americans?
Yeah.
We love Americans.
We do. Not all Americans, obviously, but,
one in particular we dislike a lot.
Mikey's saying he will defend himself to the hilt. Come on, Mikey. Come on.
Mikey, we like your ice cream. That's nice. That's
I like the milkshakes at McDonald's, which is basically ice cream, isn't it? It's just Mr. Whippy. It's slightly melted Mr. Whippy. It's great.
I do like a McDonald's milkshake. I like a McDonald's breakfast.
Do
I mean, this
you,
whole
you dirty bastard.
Honestly, I don't know if I can join your rebellion against American brands if I'm not allowed to have a McDonald's breakfast once in a while.
Come on, you've been indoctrinated.
There's a Wimpy just opened in Brighton, a brand new Wimpy.
Right. I'm coming to visit, and we're going to go to the Wimpy. We'll do a show from the Wimpy.
That's where we'll go for lunch.
With a burger, a shitty burger on a proper plate.
On a plate. And one of those sausages with all the cuts in it. Basically.
Do you know what? There'll be people watching this who don't know what Wimpy is and never experienced Wimpy. It was a thing in the 80s along with Little Chef.
I had my first ever date in a Wimpy.
Sorry. Happy Eater used to have a logo and it was a person.
It was a person trying to be sick.
Happy Eater. I don't know why they went bum. So your first date was in a McDonald's?
Yeah, no, in a Wimpy.
In a Wimpy, sorry. In a Wimpy.
Cola float. I splashed out. We shared a cola float.
Russell Cannon saying, Mikey, we love you. I think Mikey did really well last week, winning an Oscar. Mikey says, my parents both voted Labour in 45 because they felt Churchill was good as a wartime leader, but rubbish in peace.
Yeah. You know? Then again, he got re-elected 5 years later, didn't he?
He did.
It was him that passed the NHS
6 years
law.
later.
6 years, yeah.
It was 51. But yeah, he was on his last legs by then. Was it Superman?
I'm going to say to Vendetta, I have to stress to Vendetta, I do make my own McFuck breakfasts, as he calls them, basically, and they are a lot better than a McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah. This is how the world ends, not with a bang, but with a wimpy. I love that. Thank you, person impersonator. You made me laugh. You win. Harry Flashman was saying that Wimpy was a thing in the 1960s.
Yeah, well, 70s, 80s as well.
Have you read the Flashman books? Have you read the Flashman books?
I've read one of them, and I can't remember what story it is, basically. But
the Afghanistan one, that was the first one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like
I had a period when I was a kid. I used to, oh God, I'm going to sound so old now, but I used to read Jennings books all the time, and it referenced Flashman. So I went to the library and got a Flashman book out.
Yeah, no, he's
Jennings. You'd love. I was brought up reading Jennings, thinking, God, it must be great to go to a private school.
Well, Harry Potter, he goes to a private school.
There you go.
Goes to a boarding school, has an amazing adventure. It's a trope, you know, the worst witch, obviously, like, you know, Billy Bunter and all that shit. The mystique around boarding schools and the adventures that you have in boarding schools.
Just in terms of narrative in dramas or whatever, you have to get rid of the parents if it's a kid's thing.
Yes.
So boarding schools are really good for that because parents don't feature in the story.
Yeah. Well, in my in the script for the Taliban, which I sent you, I think.
That
I just dispense with the parents by killing them off before it even starts.
That's the best bit.
There you go.
That's the Disney plan normally, isn't it? Mikey, we love America. Everything's great about America.
Woo! America.
Yay.
We're going to sing the American national anthem for you, Mikey. It goes, Mikey, America, thank you. Fuck yeah, come to save the motherfucking day. Is that right?
I
just want to thank you for everything you've done for us.
No, I appreciate how grateful you're being, unlike some. No. I listen to everyone's shows because I don't sleep a lot. And I hear the little digs.
The little digs.
That you guys just try to sneak in there. And they add up. And I'm like, oh.
Have you ever thought?
Better off.
Hang on.
I quote 1 Graham Hughes this morning. We're better off without them.
Oh. I didn't mean you.
The problem is, Graham, everything
like
you say is to camera. You can't even have. You
Mikey,
don't need Bulgarian spies to work out that you're an enemy of America, Graham.
If you don't like what I'm saying, have you considered wearing a pink blouse? That'll show me.
Little sign.
I'm not a Democrat. That I've reminded you for the 50th time.
It was a joke.
And now you see why.
Yeah.
Because Mikey
would have useless.
Imagine Mikey sitting on the house floor.
Would you have gone?
Oh yeah, because they would have put me out. I would have been in there just to get put out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even taken my coat off because I knew I wouldn't last long.
I can't believe no one stood up after Al Green got thrown out. I can't believe no one stood up and said, I'm going as well, or created a fuss or anything. 10 of them censured him. 10 of the fucking Democrats censured him and said, oh, you got to respect the House.
And where was Hakeem Jeffries?
Yeah.
Where's Joe Biden? Where's fucking Kamala? You know, after Bush lost the election last time, he never shut up. He never got off the TV screens. We haven't seen them.
They'll be sticking to the old rules. That's the problem. I think the Democrats are pretty much still trying to play it by 1980s politics rules,
which is why they need to go.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore. You know, Biden. The rule normally is that an ex-president doesn't slag off the successor.
He said, "Welcome home."
Yeah,
to literally Hitler.
Yeah, which is what he said the day before. You know, after threatening that the industrial military complex and oligarchs were going to take over the world in his departing speech, he then brings one in for a cup of tea.
So let me ask you guys this. If you were told by the Supreme Court that you had unlimited judicial power,
shoot him.
How long would it take you to lock up Trump? Now, I'm not going to ask you if you're going to do it, but how long would it take you? A day?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay.
How long does it take to sign a bit of paper?
As quick as my signature, his ass would have been under the jail.
Yeah.
Did he do anything?
No.
Did he do anything about Musk?
No. And isn't it mad that, like, what's his name? That little Zuckerberg bloke, the yappy one. He was going on and on, right, about how the Democrats did him wrong because they brought him before Congress and made him answer questions and shit. And then, you know, what the Republicans have done to him is they've made him their little bitch, and they've demanded that he gives millions of dollars to the Trump inauguration fund or something fucking stupid.
That was the ritual of kissing the ring, was flying down to Mar-a-Lago and then in person giving him a check.
Jesus, fucking embarrassing.
And they all lined up and did it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Hakeem Jeffries wasn't down there. Nancy Pelosi, I'm surprised they weren't down there.
Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Mikey, is it true that the cabinet has turned on Musk?
They never liked him because he's a bully. So there's only so many things that he can get away with before it starts catching up with him. So, and now it's looking like judges are stopping all of his firing, and now the heads of departments are in charge of the firing because he's unelected. You know, that little inconvenient part of his resume.
His rockets are shit.
I mean, this is exactly why he had a $600,000 fine in the first place from the FAA, was because his freaking rockets explode and they spread shit all over the place. They had to shut down Miami airport for a while. Who's paying those people?
Yeah.
$100 million a launch of those exploding tin cans.
Nice fireworks display for the people of the Bahamas.
I'm hoping nobody was trying to get to a wedding or anything important, because, you know, Elon had to shut down the airspace by rushing another launch and spreading it all over the ocean.
Yep.
Well,
he doesn't know what he's doing. None of these assholes know what they're doing. Look at our stock market.
I mean, it's not the rocket scientist's fault, but the conditions that he makes people work in at SpaceX, at Tesla, and now in the government are just fucking disgraceful. You can't just send your employees a letter one day saying they're fired, a letter the next day saying they're rehired, a letter the next day asking them to list 5 things they did this morning before breakfast. But what the fuck?
I was watching something this afternoon where Tesla were brought up by whatever the health and safety. OSHA, and they were taken to court, and they were fined $46,000 for killing an electrician in a factory who was told to go and inspect some electrical equipment that was supposed to be turned off, and he knew it wasn't turned off, and he still had to go and inspect it. But only $46,000. Wow. And they were fined $7,000 for leaking chemicals into a factory. $7,000. The fines are like a cost of business to Tesla. That's peanuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
$46,000 for the death of a worker.
That's just the fine from OSHA. The family's going to sue for wrongful death. You know what I mean? Like, that's
millions.
I think it's. Let me see what it's. OHSA. I can't remember what it stands for. Like occupational health and standards, or something.
I mean, they've got to cut that out. It sounds woke from the beginning.
This is what
Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Mikey, we have these privatized water companies that don't bother treating the sewage that we give them. You know, they give us water, charge us through the nose for it. We give them our shit, and instead of treating it, they're just pouring it straight into our rivers. And every single watercourse in Britain now is polluted with effluent because of these companies. One of the knock-on effects of Brexit was they couldn't get the chemicals that they need to break down the shit. And the thing with these companies is the amount that it will cost them to fix
microbes
is this much, and the fine
Nothing
is
like the
this
fines.
much.
Exactly.
So they pay the fucking fines and continue
And Musk
breaking
is
the law.
Musk is trying to shut down OSHA. He's trying to shut down the FAA. He's trying to shut down, almost every department.
They're trying to shut down the NOAA, Mike. You know, the weather service. They're trying to shut down their equivalent of the Met Office. So who
are also suing SpaceX.
Yeah, but they're not going to know.
Department of the Environment suing SpaceX.
But they're not going to know
when
a hurricane's going to hit. Like
while he was ranting about all of his great accomplishments and how he had done so much in 45 days, North Carolina was on fire.
Really?
Didn't breathe a word of it. And it's a deep red area. He didn't say a word about it. And if my state was burning and I'm sitting there and he's not addressing it, the Republicans should have got up and yelled. But they're lapdogs.
Yeah.
They're
coming under fire in town halls, aren't they? I mean, the GOP, in fact, announced that no GOP senators should attend town halls anymore. Because there's a number of videos of Republican voters, not Democrats, turning up and saying, "Hang on, you got rid of you doged."
That's the woke Antifa mafia that flew all the way into Montana and Idaho to make a ruckus at your little town hall. That's what that was.
It always gets me. They're arguing. Trump said the other day, these are all paid actors, and you think, where can I get some of this money to go and shout at senators? Basically, it's never. I've been doing this for 10 years. Nobody offers me even a tenner to go and shout at Nigel Farage.
I think that's the most frustrating thing about being a left-wing gob. Do you know what I mean? And going to these marches and rallies and organising all this shit, and they go, "Oh, you're getting paid," and you're like, "I fucking actors. Wish, mate."
Yeah,
it's
projection because they are probably
exactly.
Like Tufton Street to say this stuff.
If I wanted to be rich, doing exactly what I'm doing here, I'd be right wing. Like I'll be fucking raking in. Mikey, you would be a millionaire if you went right wing. Why don't you go right wing for a year and then go left wing again and give us all your money?
I keep pushing you two in the chat that we should just switch the whole thing over to the right, make a fortune, get investors in.
Yeah, but I like the people who watch the shows. They're very nice. Billy and Ernie in the chat. I've met Ernie in real life.
When was the last time we got a super chat? Graham, it's been nearly 4 minutes since we got a super chat. These people are rubbish. We need some good thick right-wingers watching us. That's what we need.
We don't want thick right-wingers. We want lovely people who care about each other. There you go.
Tim.
Just got a super chat.
Tim saved the day.
I told you they were lovely. Tim, thank you very much for the super chat. £5 super chat. Musk will take over NOAA and people will need to pay for weather warnings.
Yeah.
Probably.
But he can't get a spaceship in the air to work out what the weather's doing. So,
Jesus.
He can get it up there.
It comes down pretty quick.
I mean, are they going to sack it off?
Unscheduled disassembly or whatever they call it. Try to parlance it into. But it's...
Right. Caught fire and engines failed and then
spun in a million
into
circles.
Florida.
Spun into a million circles and then blew itself up in atmosphere.
Is this like number 8, 9 blown up? I mean, it's been a lot.
It's the 8th launch. It's the 4th explosion. But every single launch really has been a failure. I mean, depending on the criteria you apply to it. But they should have been on Mars by now, shouldn't they? 2024, he predicted.
But what's the point of going to fucking
back
Mars?
In the day?
There's nothing there. We've sent probes, we've sent robots. We don't need to...
Well, the Earth is flat, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
See, this is the beginning of our right-wing channel. This is how we take on Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
and over on the bin, like all we've been doing is just saying, okay, this is the next thing he wants to implement, and it failed miserably and catastrophically. And then there's a couple of idiots in the chat like, no. Still to this day, the other countries pay the tariffs. I'm like, I don't know how to help you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to help you. Like, you're just chronically dumb.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to help you out of your dumbness.
I mean, the point, and we say it over and over again, but the tariffs damage both countries involved. Basically, it's not like Canada comes out of this scot-free. They do get punished, but because they're implementing their own tariffs, aren't they?
And but again, this is a lesson that they're going to have to learn the hard way. And as much as we try to drag them from pulling us off of a cliff, it looks like we're going off the cliff because they refuse. Like it's almost, I wouldn't even say it's refuse at this point. They are incapable of learning new information. They're incapable of
the thing is, Mikey,
hold on, they're incapable of understanding these. I mean, they're only like 2 or 3 moving parts to these things, but it's just too complex for them. Like they just can't understand that, arguing with the people that you share a border with, and where 90% of our cars are made bouncing back and forth between the border. Like, if that doesn't make sense to you, what else am I supposed to say to you?
Yeah.
Like you just don't get it. You just are incapable of understanding.
I need to. What I was going to say is that if you go from our experience of Brexit, if the Democrats or the opposition in any way say put any hurdles in the way of Trump trying to get his plans in place, then they will get the blame for the tariffs. They will get the blame for the failure of the economy. The reason Brexit didn't work in this country is the left kept saying it's a bad idea, and the Tories keep saying, well, it's your fault that it didn't work out then because you didn't believe in it enough. And I just need to address Pete in the chat, who mentioned that the mayor of Trumpton was on my wall and then is very surprised that nobody mentioned it fell off my wall behind me. I just want to show Pete what happened. Collapse of one of my favorite framed pictures. So.
Did that just happen today?
Yeah.
It just
5 minutes ago.
Basically, and Pete had mentioned it. He said, "Is that a picture of the mayor of Trumpton behind you?" And then he's going, "Has nobody else noticed this? Am I the only one? What's going on?"
He's in his own world.
Mandela effect over there, basically.
That's always been broken
for your birthday.
Yeah,
that's been broken for years. How did you just now notice it?
Yeah, what's wrong? Mayor of Trumpton? There was never a picture of the mayor of Trumpton, Pete.
What are you talking about? Must be crazy.
So, do people is anyone talking about the fact that, like, the rest, well, not that everyone in the world, but like, Canada and Mexico and Europe are turning their backs on America now? I mean, is anyone, how's that going over there?
They don't know.
No.
I'm telling you, they don't have the skills to understand what danger they're in. And as much as we yell and scream to them, like, hey, Cliff, it's like we're the navigator on a rally car, and they are just refusing to listen to our instructions. Even though we have studied the map, even though we have studied the course, we know the weather conditions, we check the weather, they won't listen to us. You know what I mean? So at this point, it's just going to be, they want it to be every man for themselves. They're going to regret that.
Yeah. And it doesn't come up. I've been watching some of the mainstream news channels, and it's just not really mentioned. They don't even talk about Europe's. They talk about a senator from Kansas's view of what's happening, basically, but not Keir Starmer or Macron or even Trudeau, who you'd thought would play out well in the States.
Trudeau's all over the news.
He's getting coverage today, isn't he? Because they're having a spat, which is good.
They've been covering him, Trudeau. Not so much the European guys, but
no. I feel like we're leaving Trudeau out, hanging him out to dry at the moment.
Well, he's leaving, so
yeah, I suppose that's why we can't back him, isn't it?
Mark Carney is going to be taking his.
I think it'll be Mark Carney
place, but whether he wins the election or not is not 100%. I mean, they were doing really badly in the polls until Trump started farting around. Because I mean, they're getting really pissed off in Canada. The absolute level of disrespect that America is showing them, calling them the 51st state, calling Trudeau the governor of the 51st. I mean, just it's. I can see why
the governors of the governors of the provinces are saying, regardless of any tariffs that you put, premiers, is it? They're essentially saying, right. They're taking all the whiskey off the shelves, all the American whiskey. Banning orders for Starlink. and they're doing that regardless of whether the tariffs are on or off. So.
And a lot of these like big corporations and all this stuff, everybody who like tried to bend the knee to Trump and do all that, yeah, they didn't know that he was gonna like tank the market immediately.
Yeah.
Like they're all like, you know, I'm saying like getting their comeuppances at this point. But for them, they can recover. But when you go after Social Security, which people may have been paying into for 45 years.
Yeah.
And then now they're finally getting to the age and all this shit is about to happen. They're like, oh, whew, at least I'll have my social. Nope. This freakazoid billionaire from South Africa has decided that you don't get to keep your house.
Yeah. All the money that you've put in and the taxes that you've paid, he's got to steal them all for himself.
Yep. Those are for me because I want to go to Mars with my rockets.
They did say that immigrants were taking their jobs, mate. So, you know, he's an immigrant. He's taking everyone's job. He's just taking it to the next level. You know, most immigrants take one person's job. He's taking like 1 million.
No, but it's the abuelita who makes like the best tamales you've ever tasted. Let's get her out of the country and let's keep Elon. What? I mean, if we're gonna do this, let's do this all the way. We get a big old stage and everybody gets a buzzer and we call it in like American Idol. And if you don't get chosen to stay, you don't get. First up is Elon.
Yeah.
Next up, Melania. And then we work down the list from there. I mean, how about the Tate brothers? How about that? We'll put them up there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We'll put up the people who are immigrants who are doing bad to this country. Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
You go up there.
Yeah.
South Africa seems to be responsible for quite a few of these. South Africa and Luton.
Apartheid, South Africa's children, the children of apartheid, have come over to America.
And they can go back over there. And apparently that's why we cut all of our aid to South Africa was because the white farmers are just being murdered on their farm. Where's the reports?
Yeah.
Well, they said something about like, what, 6 people? They have 30,000 murders in South Africa every year. And I'm supposed to care about these 6 people?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I don't like the Lake and Riley Act. Oh,
yeah,
so one white girl gets killed by an undocumented person. And now we have to do something. That's the same thing with this fentanyl crisis. No one gave a shit about crack in the 80s because it was in the cities and it was black folks and people in nightclubs and stuff like that. They didn't care. They just said, just say no, right? Where's the say no campaign? Just say no to fentanyl. Just say no. Why do I, as a taxpayer, have to spend all this money to save white kids when you can just say no?
Yeah, but if
no's always an option.
Because 1%, 0.2%, is it, of the fentanyl comes across the border from Canada, I think we should declare war on Canada.
I think that's just one sandwich bag.
It is a sandwich bag. I think it was 60 pounds.
No, it was ounces.
To be fair,
ounces. Yeah, it's like 6 or 7 ounces.
There was a drug smuggling operation shut down in Canada today. There are bad guys in Canada. They're not all good guys, basically.
Compared
just
to
be
what?
Fair. Just to be balanced.
Compared to what?
The drug dealers operate in Canada as well. That's the one.
Did you hear about that?
They're very polite, Mike. You take.
They're very nice about it.
They're very nice.
They say please and thank you.
Yeah, before they shoot you in the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys know of that Silk Road app?
Yeah. Yeah, Trump released the guy, didn't he?
Yeah, the Silk Road was like this, like named after the other Silk Road, but it was just, a place where you can go on the dark web and buy literally anything. Anything.
Drugs, guns, and humans.
And they were doing all that stuff and they were paying for it with crypto. So now that the guy who was running it like had run in with a couple people and he put hits out for like 2 specific guys, and then the guy let him know, like, hey, this guy's here with his family, what do you want me to do? He's like, take them all out. So he's on the hook and was in jail for 6 murders for hire that he tried to purchase, right? And then he went in front of the judge and asked for a leniency, and I know what I did was wrong, and Trump pardoned him.
Yep.
So if our goal is to stop drugs from coming into the country, why would you release he is actually the largest drug dealer to have ever existed on this planet. We're talking billions of dollars.
He called it the Amazon for drugs, didn't he? Basically,
yeah, he was doing billions of dollars a month in drug sales.
Yeah, wow.
And
but
Trump
crypto.
And Trump has pardoned him.
Yeah,
yeah, because of pressure from his mother or something.
Well, the libertarians wanted him to be freed for their support in the election, and it took like a month or so. But now he's going to be walking the streets if he isn't already.
Because he's a libertarian hero, isn't he? Even though he wrote to President Biden saying, "I made a complete mess of my life. I shouldn't have done this. I thought it was libertarian, but it turned out it was awful.
I was just doing this to expound my libertarian views. I had no idea it would turn into this."
Yeah.
Oh my God! I'm sorry.
And Trump let him go.
The Republicans, all the dickheads who voted for Trump, they're all behind this.
They're all on board with this.
They don't even know because they're dumb, dude. That's what I'm saying. They are completely in their bubble.
Darian DeStar in the chat is saying it was also for child sex trafficking.
Yeah,
they were selling children.
Man.
Anything
they
literally
sold
anything.
Silk Road was doing everything that MAGA accused the Democrats of doing in pizza restaurants. Basically, that's what they were up to.
It's all projection. All of it has been projection.
God, this is horrific.
And they let him free.
And he'll probably be made.
He's probably going to he's going to start up a new website, obviously.
Yeah, he'll be put in charge of the new Fortnite's crypto coin, won't he, or something?
Or they'll probably put him in charge of Health and Human Services after RFK's worm takes over.
I want to ask Mike.
And the Hitman story is the worst bit of it because he wasn't actually in jail for Silk Road. They got him like they get gangsters on something else. In this case, it was that he'd commissioned this assassination attempts. And one of them, as you say, was this guy was out on a family day out with his kids and wife and whatever. There were 5 people there. And the hitman rings up the guy and says, he's with family, I can't do it. And the guy said, no, take them all out. People he'd never met in his life.
Were they all killed?
No. It was an agent or someone working with the government that he was
also
talking
to. That story is intense.
Yeah,
but it's intense because there was only one good agent in this story, and there's about 10 bad agents.
Yeah,
there's an FBI guy who goes in to investigate the Silk Road and then starts making money out of it, and goes, "Oh fuck it, I'll just let this pass then," and then he pretends to be a hitman, a real hitman, and then this other agent comes in spotting this other agent. The whole story is like a terrible Netflix movie.
God. They did make a movie about it.
They did
like a docudrama called Silk Road.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is the guy that Trump just pardoned because the libertarians and his mommy asked really nicely. But we want to keep the drugs out of here. Okay. So when people, when these like, and it,
oh my God,
when, and this was something we reported on the bin probably 3 years ago. In Oklahoma, there was a bunch of black girls who were saying, there's a guy stealing people. There's a guy stealing people. There's a guy stealing people. And then like a girl was running down the street, half dressed, with ligature marks all over her, on her wrists and stuff like that. And she didn't know where the guy's house. She, in a state. And we reported on it. And I'm like, where's the cops? Where's the chief of police? Where's the mayor? Where's the this and that? When are they going to do something? When are they going to do something?
Yeah.
3 years ago, they caught the guy, or maybe like a year ago now, but they caught the guy. A serial killer and kidnapping people for trafficking and all that stuff. So when people report things that are real, they're not believed. This guy is confirmed to do all of it, and they're going to let him out. And they're talking about pardoning Chauvin.
And to an extent, this is part of the plan, isn't it? You release Musk into the wild and let him sack people and cancel Ebola plans, etc., etc. And that creates all the noise. And then they're doing all these other things underground, just sneaking them out like any politician would when there's a bad news day, basically. You wait for Musk to blow something up and then you sneak out the pardon for this guy on that day. So the American people don't know about it.
And Chauvin is for people who don't know, is the cop that knelt on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes. Trump wants to pardon him, but he's on state.
Off.
Oh, you're joking.
No, Elon's idea. Put it on Twitter. He put it on Twitter. This guy should be this is, what can you tell them at this point? They're not listening.
So if after Rodney King had the shit beaten out of him by those cops who had the LA riots. If that cop gets out of jail, I mean, is that going to be the blue touch paper? Is that going to be it?
Blue touch.
The thing is, the thing with America is the short-term memory thing, isn't it? That might be too long ago.
No, they're racist and they like it.
Yeah, but
that's why that's why we needed the Democratic Party to enforce the laws and write legislation that protects multiple people. So when they refuse to, cede the seat and refuse to let somebody else run and refuse to have a primary and refuse to listen to their voters, this is what happens. Like, we have always been at the precipice of this. Yeah. Always. And the fact that they are so just stale, just completely stale at doing anything to help us is the problem, which is why again, I've never liked Democrats, because they refuse to help the people. I have to vote for them to block the bad people, but when it comes right down to it, they refuse, because they're all millionaires, doing their insider trading thing and taking lobbyist money. So they feel like they're insulated from this, and they don't have to. And the black people will vote for us because they have to. The Latinos and the Muslims will vote for us because they have to. You sponsored a genocide.
And then it comes back to what you were saying about Congress this week, the Senate this week, the joint session. I thought the Democrats were just pathetic. Yeah. It was like a game they were playing.
I got so angry. I think I got angrier at the response of the Democrats than anything else this week. Yeah. And that's saying a lot. I've been quite angry.
And to a great extent. And I know, listen, it might surprise you to know I'm no Trump fan, basically, but he knows that. He does know telly. The man is not stupid when it comes to optics. And he knew that's what was going to happen, because he spent that whole speech trying to wind them up. That's what he was trying to do, and he knew it looked silly, and stupid and pathetic. Basically, he was quite happy.
We've had a couple of super chats come in, which I should address. Sorry, I'm really sorry, Darian. I didn't read your thing out. I should have read that a lot earlier. Thank you so much, Darian, for the £10 super chat. That's really kind of you. All this Russia/Ukraine nastiness will be forgotten in the US as soon as Nebraska goes bankrupt.
Oh.
We need to look into that. And then we got Kieran Crossan, £2 super chat. Thank you so much. People are so kind on this channel. Chauvin won't get out. It was a state prosecution.
Right.
Oh, okay. That's good.
They said it, but they want to do it for the gesture of it,
Trump. Sandra says Trump can pardon Chauvin on the federal charges, but Chauvin also got state charges. He's in a federal jail at the moment, and he would go straight to a state prison, unless Trump flies him out on a private jet to Romania or something.
Ernie Burns say DEI is basically the N word, but it also covers all prejudices from sexism to transphobia.
Mm-hmm.
And Mikey,
and they just explain to me how veterans were a big part of that. Yes, baby.
Yeah, how women, veterans, and black people can listen to this DEI bollocks every day, basically, and not be, fervently angry about it. Like, literally, that was not.
In the words of James Baldwin, to be black in America is to be in a constant state of rage.
Well, yeah. But some of them voted for him. That's the bit I don't
because they don't know any better, because they literally don't know how the government works or how any of this works. They just don't get it.
Yeah,
and that's
a failure of absolutely. You're right. That's a failure of all politicians, isn't it?
Well, it's the part. It's a media and the education system, and it's intentional. They're intentionally making these people sheep, so that they just kind of get into the footballification of politics, and they just find their side and then they root for it. So then even when people say, hey, that's going to directly negatively affect you, almost instantly they say, nuh-uh.
It's the same reason China and Hungary and Russia still have elections, to give you the idea that you're pretend you're doing democracy, basically. Go and have a play at democracy every so often.
Putin wins in a landslide. 75% of the vote goes straight to him. It's like, oh, yeah, that's normal. That's how elections work.
I've missed another super chat. I'm really sorry. Thanks George, sorry, I've got to say, I'm really knackered. So if I look like I'm flagging a bit here, I am. I'm really sorry, George. I did miss your super chat. I was going to come to it after Tim Ballums. The U.S. Supreme Court legalized sewage tap water.
Yeah.
Which is,
we did that as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did that in this country as well. I mean, there was a famous case in Flint, Michigan, where the water was just brown, wasn't it, coming out of the taps? And that went on for years. Has that been solved now, Mikey?
In Flint? Nope.
Yeah, in Flint?
Nope. And then Obama went out there and pretended to drink a glass of their water and said, "Look, we all ate lead chips back when we were kids. Sometimes it happens."
We were lead soldiers. It was lovely.
Yeah, that was his response to the people whose, I mean, I think it was over 90% of the kids had lead contamination in their blood.
Hey, let's do a little bit of good news. That just makes me want to go on a tangent of a little bit of good news. The latest figures on pollution in outer London after ULEZ was introduced mean that people are living, I can't remember the exact numbers, but isn't it something like 40, 50% less pollution in all of the suburbs of London?
Mm.
After all the people going around and chopping down cameras to stop ULEZ and the right wing saying that it was an infringement of civil liberties, and you go, no, look, actually, your kids are not dying of asthma anymore.
It only affected like 5% of cars. If you had a petrol car, it had to be over 20 years old for it. And then, even then, a lot of cars that were over 20 years old still were compliant. Oh, thank you. Look at that. I got a fresh coffee. Thank you. I love you.
You're like the Anthony Scaramucci of this podcast.
How does that work?
The other day, he was in the Caribbean doing his podcast with Catty K, and there was a noise in the background. And Catty K said, "What's that noise in the background?" He said, "Oh, I think it's our fountain. Can somebody turn the fountain off?" Basically, the guy's pretty brash. He's brash money, basically.
Wow. Anne Phillips in the chat is saying, "Less pollution, disgusting. We want our particulates back." Yeah. No,
bring back carburetors.
My dad would like you, Mikey. My dad used to sell carburetors, or as you like to say, carburetors. Until the 90s, when everything started being fuel injected.
Direct injection, baby.
It's just a more efficient way of doing it. Do you want an even more efficient way of doing it? Fucking have an electric motor. No gears. No pistons.
However, and renewable energy making the electricity.
Yes.
Because that's the big lie. That's the thing with America at the moment, isn't it? They've given up on the idea that the world is their marketplace. And if you bring up the middle class in countries like Ukraine, then you get Tesla customers. That was always the argument, basically. Guys, create a middle class.
Sorry, I just want to say we just lost connection there for a moment. So sorry if you missed what Mike was saying. Sorry, Mike. Do you want to continue?
Sorry. No, I was going to say this is what Trump's shifting on his head, isn't it? Really, is that it used to be America kept the peace, if you like, and that their global economic and military influence created marketplaces for them all over the world. Yeah. And now they're basically saying, no, we just want to come in and steal all your minerals. And, we're quite happy selling stuff to Americans. And the obvious thing that they're going to, the tariffs that they talk about with Canada and Mexico are one thing, and that's definitely going to affect Americans on food and cars and all sorts of things, and electricity and timber. But it's the Chinese tariffs that are really going to cause this war. China declared the other day that we're happy to fight a tariff war. In fact, we're happy to fight any kind of war with America. It's fine.
Trade
and
war,
that's really where it's going.
I disagree. I think it's Mexico. That's the main thing. Mexico and Canada. Like Canada for the aluminum, the steel, the lumber, and then Mexico for our food. Like before, people can buy less Temu and Shein and all that stuff, and
but it's
less
iPhones.
Things.
It's iPhones, man.
Dude, I keep iPhones for a minimum of 8 years, and then I'll get a new one. Like your phone will be okay. You know what I mean? Everybody has a smartphone already. Like we don't need new ones, but you need groceries every week. You need people, if you like, workers and like construction guys, they need to go to Home Depot every day,
No, you're right.
every morning before it, and that's
Don't get
where
me
it
wrong.
hits. Yeah.
Mexico and Canada are the equivalent of the European Union, aren't they? You know, you share workers, you
And
ship potatoes backwards and forwards from one to the other. Basically, it's a daily thing that's happening that feeds the economy.
and
But
this nonsense of pretending like we'll just turn it on this month, turn it off that month. All of the investing money is disappearing. And like they wanted Trump to get in there so that they could have, like little to no taxes. This is going to be sweet. Well, you can't invest if the market is so crazy that people are scared to put their money in anything.
that's what we were saying before you came on, Mikey.
That,
that the uncertainty is the thing that is going to drive businesses away, and they're going to put their money into Canada or Mexico
or
and
Bitcoin.
I also think there's an opportunity for the UK in all of this. Brexit, Britain
can
take the investment money.
Mikey, do you have any inside info on who put the $100 million into crypto this week, just before Trump announced that he was going to start a Federal Reserve for crypto?
I wonder who it could have been.
Any suggestions? Any names?
I mean, I wish we could just, look up the registry for everybody who had purchased it. Oh, wait. It's all secret.
I thought it was all open, Mikey. I thought that was the whole point of crypto. It was all open. Everyone knew what was going on all of the time.
Oh, but everyone's name is just a bunch of gobbledygook. So I guess I can't know exactly who is on the chain.
Wow. So you know what they did, but you don't know who it was who did it.
It's almost like the Silk Road.
What a shit game of Cluedo that is.
And again, like the people who are just like, 9-to-5 workers working at like a mechanic shop or on the assembly line for Ford, or farmers, nurses, doctors, teachers. These are normal people, and most of those people are Republicans. You know what I mean? So like and
a lot of them, like they're the ones that are getting screwed because the people putting the huge chunks of money into the Trump coin are just doing it for influence. They're buying Trump's coins, literally the ones he owns in his registry. Those are the ones they're buying, so that money goes directly to Trump. And the people that put $1,000 or $2,000 of their savings into Trump coin because I love Trump, they got screwed over royally within 3 days.
He pump and dumped all of them to the tune of I think like $2 billion.
But they still love him.
Well, the ones that got screwed over are mad, but they will make sure that a camera never gets anywhere near that person, and that a news crew stays as far away from that person as possible. And if that person does start complaining,
pretty pro-Trump until he did that.
And then as soon as that person does get in front of a camera or does get in front of the media, oh well, he's just a paid leftist. You know what I mean? The emperor's clothes are very fine. What do you mean?
We just got a super chat in from Maggie. Thank you so much, Maggie. That's really kind of you. Is anyone investigating the 200 children who vanished from a migrants hotel, I think in Hastings a couple of years ago?
Brighton.
It was Brighton.
We lost 100 and something kids. Yeah, they just vanished. Listen, this is me speculating, but there is a people trafficking and drug trafficking operation in Brighton that goes through Port Slade, the port just down the road from here. And it's been going on for years. If you wanted to know who the drug and people smugglers are in Brighton, it's the ones with the gold-plated Bentleys, literally. So I have no idea why the police don't knock on these people's doors.
Who's buying them?
Yeah, what, the drugs?
The people.
Oh, so the people smuggling side of it is for the drug runners, the county lines kids. So they bring in kids from Eastern Europe. They who don't speak any English. They're teenagers. They can't be tried in a court. They have to be tried in a juvenile court. So they bring them over into the port. They give them somewhere to live. They get them doing county lines drugs running. When they get caught, there are only 2 lawyers in Brighton that speak. I won't name the language because I don't want to disparage the country entirely, basically, but there's only 2 lawyers that speak that language, and they're in the pay of the guys that own the super yachts in the marina down the road. Literally, there is a gangster movie happening in Brighton. There always was. Cray Brothers operated down here years ago, basically through the antiques trade, but it was all a bit more gentlemanly and sort of, back in the day.
I was a bit busy, and I said, "Would you mind not nailing me head to the table this week?" And she said,
Thank you very much.
You just took me through a drag at the back of his car."
Exactly.
Wouldn't have a word said against them.
I mean, we literally have stories here. There was a woman shot in the face on a yacht in the marina, and the story was mystery around this woman. And you go, who owned the freaking yacht? It was the guy with the gold-plated fucking Bentley. Basically, go and knock on his door. It's like what? And he owns half the property in Brighton. That's why I'm being slightly careful about what I say, basically. So I could well be renting my house off him for all I know.
Jesus Christ!
It looks like Albanians. 30 minutes ago, Bongino, the frickin' truther podcaster who is the deputy of the FBI, said fire everyone. Career FBI officials forced to resign while Trump loyalists tap to lead. There you go.
Yeah, this is the podcaster, isn't he, or YouTuber or something, who's said on numerous occasions that he wants to destroy the FBI, and he's been made deputy director of the FBI. And they pleaded
Kash Patel.
They pleaded with Kash Patel, who's now in charge of the FBI. They pleaded, please put someone who has been in the FBI for years, some experience, to be deputy, because it's more that the deputy does the day-to-day running. It's a bit like a vice chancellor of a university. Do you know what I mean? The chancellor is just a sort of figurehead. So you
Stephen
J.
Fry.
Edgar Hoover, Stephen Fry, that's your figurehead. But then, the actual person who does the job each day is the vice chancellor. Teacher. You know what a vice chancellor at Manchester got done for curb crawling? And we had to, and we weren't allowed to have the headline in the student paper putting the vice back into vice chancellor. Censored we were.
Somebody must have done that.
Help! I've been silenced. It's not fair.
And I mean, if they want to keep making these enemies, it's not, they're not going to have to worry about me. They're not going to have to worry about, some leftist crazy whatever. Americans are weird, man. Americans are weird. And if you think that you're just gonna,
one of the things I always think about these is that I think we lived in pretty much a golden age. We will look back at the period of our lives as being a golden age, because the FBI, it was not a good organization under Hoover. He literally blackmailed every single president since Eisenhower, and and was a deviant himself, and was using it for political means. And it got cleaned up a bit in the 1970s and 80s, and then we've lived through a period where the FBI have, been the features of most cop dramas in the States for the last 30 years, doing their PR job.
They've had Clarence Starling, they've had Dale, what's his name, from Twin Peaks, Dale Cooper. They've had Fox Mulder they've had some really good people working for them.
Good PR.
Good definitely. PR. Definitely good PR. But Donald Trump's obsession with Lecter aside.
under this new guy, I think the FBI will go back to the Hoover days. It will be absolutely the political enemies of Kash and Trump. And as far as Kash Patel's concerned, all of the enemies of the state are the enemies of Donald Trump. I mean, he wrote a bloody children's book about it, didn't he? Basically,
yes, he wrote where it was like the princess of Freelandia or something, and she had to take down she had to save the wonderful King Trumpia or Donald or something against the evil forces of.
It was really subtle.
Tyrants.
You couldn't work out what he was actually talking about.
But yeah, I mean, Kash Patel. Have you seen the pictures of him? He's not all there. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, he's got an unfortunate eye, doesn't he?
Is that it? I saw a picture and I thought, that they've obviously done some AI stuff to that. To make
I redrew my MTB character, my Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia character today, and he's got the same eye. He's got a slightly turned eye towards his nose. Okay. So Kash Patel's going to be an easy cartoon for me. I'm going to do him next.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder what the FBI dramas will be like for the next 4 years. Somebody's mentioned Mindhunter, great TV series, really great series. But what are the FBI dramas of the next 4 years going to be? Is it just going to be one lone guy digging out that the entire FBI is corrupt and right-wing and racist?
The DC field office that Kash Patel closed on his way out. I think the director of there was saying more or less, he's like, yeah, you can take our jobs, but we protect this country. So even if you're not paying us, even if we're not on the thing, we still got IR on the ball. See you in the field.
They're going to
I
make
was
some
like,
bad
oh,
enemies.
I was like, see, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you can try to be a king and you can try to be a tyrant, but there's some real believers out there. There's some straight up USA motherfuckers out there, not part of your little I hate Mexicans cult, like actual patriots. So
Yeah.
keep fucking around. And again, you ain't got to worry about nothing from me.
They're making enemies of veterans. They're making enemies of
Yeah, yeah.
FBI,
Just have a bunch of
CIA.
unstable veterans who no longer get their medication, are losing all of their money, and they can't go see their therapist anymore.
Mm.
You want them running around?
Plus,
Okay, good
the
luck.
FBI have got all of Trump's secrets, haven't they? So I think
And
I'd
he's
be
firing
walking out the
everybody.
door with a
So
little USB stick
look,
at that point.
if you think a couple of thousand Secret Service is going to protect our democracy from the 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 skeleton crew doing their best, I don't know, man. Again, these are the guys who just smear dirt on their face and just fucking disappear in the woods for fucking 6 weeks. So if you want to piss all of them off and take all of their money away and tell them that there should be homeless bums and that they should just, go work at the Amazon plant or Tesla and that's what their life should be. If you think they're going for that, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally believe you, and I'm sure that it'll go smoothly.
Do
All
you,
right.
what can you see happening over the next few months? Because Trump, I mean, the only good thing about that horrible orange blob is that he's fucking incompetent and he's surrounding himself with incompetent people. And do you think it's gonna fall apart? Do you think that the wheels are gonna come off? I mean, they all seem to have come
I
off.
mean, look at the stock market. Like,
Is it not recovered?
no.
No, it's dropped 1,300 points or something.
Oh, what's the thing when it goes 10% in like in a day or whatever it
Special
is?
measures. It gets put in special measures, like a failing school in the UK. There's something.
It's in that. It's in like pretty much about to be in free fall. So, I
Which
mean,
apparently is
he's
why
gonna
he
lose
reversed the
in
tariffs.
right. And he's like, oh well,
Some
I'm
of them.
pushing it back another month for U.S. and Canada or for Mexico and Canada, and I'm gonna do this and the.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too late, brother. And then I'm telling you, as soon as people can't get what they need, and then you start letting the dangerous people get desperate, they're not after me. I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the one that's causing them this pain. And there ain't, what I mean, no matter of talking them into, what I mean, to some protected group and trying to pin them out on it is going to work for middle class people. You can't convince middle class people that their neighbor who's just as broke as them is the root of all their problems. It'll work on TV and it'll work with the racists, but 77 million out of 340 million, a majority does not make.
No.
Yeah.
Can I just this isn't a super chat, but can I read out Purity Vendetta's message?
Of course.
I've been listening to Mikey for a while now, and he really does restore my faith that there is still decent people standing up and being counted in the US. Go, Mikey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Well deserved.
I'm talking to people standing up. There's a senator called Jeff Merkley. Did anyone see this week? Where he was he basically asked if Trump was a Russian asset, and then he asked what would he do differently, and he listed 5 things that Trump had done. And he's like, what would he have done? And this is something that was said on this channel. It's like, what would he do? If he was an asset, what would he do differently? Yeah. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It's
and
the same.
Today, he's just said that Russia holds all the cards, which is mad when Russia's army, it's on its arse. They have to get kids from North Korea to fight because they haven't got any soldiers or the equipment. Fuck, the only reason why they're still there is because he has all these meat bags that he can keep farming into the blender, into the meat grinder.
And then the first thing out of JD Vance's mouth is, look, you're having a recruitment problem. You're having to do a conscription. Let's talk about conscription for 30 seconds. The United States has done conscription. Pretty sure the UK has done conscription. All Western powers have done conscription when necessary. If there is an a pillar of tanks charging the border, yeah, goddamn right, it's time for conscription.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This isn't just like, okay, some people can be in and some people can be out. No, this is all hands on deck. We need to get these tanks the hell away from our border.
Yeah.
So, and the grateful thing, if only he hadn't said thank you 4 times in there without them screaming over the top of him. We've had to watch it a few times. He actually does say thank you, and I appreciate that. And that 4 times while sitting there with them.
Yeah.
And why the hell should he thank you, JD Vance? You voted down the aid fund to Ukraine when you were in the Senate for 2 years. And Donald Trump, you're the one that tried to extort him and said you weren't going to get any aid at all unless you dug up dirt on Joe Biden's kid, on Hunter. So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's a rumor that Macron and Starmer are going to bodyguard Zelensky next week in the meeting. I don't know if that's still true, but
I hope so.
The rumor is that they're not going to let him go into the Oval Office on his own.
What, is he going back to the Oval Office?
Supposed to. I mean, they're having talks next week in Saudi Arabia, but Zelensky's not going to those.
He's going to Saudi Arabia, but he won't be at the talks. Interesting.
Yeah, but Trump has said that he'll be welcome back to the White House for another attempt after that. And Starmer and Macron apparently are hinting that they're going to go along to that meeting.
Yeah, bring your own bottled water, Zelensky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't trust that fucker. No one does.
I said last week on one of the shows in Morning Brew, I said he's walking into a trap. And, you know, this time, if he goes back again, they could arrest him. They could kill him. And that would be legal, by the way, in America right now. That's how fucked things are. Because he could say it's an official act. Because he's bad for America.
I ended the war. Can I get my Nobel Peace Prize now?
And that's what all of this is after. He just wants to pillage and go in the larder when everybody's out, and he wants everyone to believe that he's this great peacemaker. And Zelensky's like, not just take the deal so I can get my Nobel Prize. Learn how to read, bro. We saw you try to read after you got handed the letter from Starmer. Like, we saw you about to start reading it, and then you're like, that's a big word. And you know, they probably wrote it in cursive too, which really threw him off. And I think his eyes are shit, and he just refuses to wear glasses.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. But just put something in front of him and say, here, you know, here's my surrender to Putin, and get him to sign it.
That's probably the thing. Zelensky
and then just put have a document,
something in 7-point verses, basically, and just say, there you go. There's 200 pages of it. I've signed it. You should sign it. This is my capitulation. Please start sending me the money tomorrow.
It says, I resign as president, and I make Vladimir Zelensky the president of the United States from henceforth.
That's where the people come in, because the Republicans who are not impeaching him on or bringing up charges on a daily basis, it is the people's job to make those people as uncomfortable as possible. As uncomfortable as possible. What's his name? Tim Walz and Bernie Sanders have both posited going into all of those red districts and having town halls, because these guys are cowards and they don't want to do it themselves. Just going into those town halls themselves and just talking to the people and listening to them, and let them rant and let them bitch and let them complain and say, yeah, we should get rid of that guy. I'm with you. Yeah, I agree with that. We should get rid of that guy. I'm with you.
Yeah, you're right.
That's all. That's all you have to do. You know what I mean?
That's what Farage does every day over here.
And on listening to people, your constituents, seems to be a winning strategy. Unfortunately, sometimes the constituents are rabid racists. But it's not hard to fix this, but the resolve is not there. You know what I mean? And Trump is losing support left, right, and center. And we got Hakeem Jeffries saying, okay, here's your bingo sign. Okay, here's your bingo sign. And here's your bingo sign.
He doesn't cut it, does he? He's not got, doesn't have the gravitas.
He's a donor Democrat. You know what I mean? That's what when they say like corporate Democrats, or like this fake blue and all this stuff. Like they don't care about anything. They care about money. And if the Republicans are full, so they came over on this side, it is immaterial to them. The standings of the American people, like they don't care.
Yeah,
they never have cared.
Do you get a feeling that Bezos might be the first to break out of the oligarchy? Because
No.
the Wall Street Journal for the last 7 days, the Wall Street Post, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I might be getting this wrong then. So whose opinion pieces is it that have been?
It's the Washington Post that he owns.
Yeah.
Is it?
Got the Wall Street Journal.
It's not the Wall Street Journal. You're right. It's the Washington Post. Yeah. So the Washington Post opinion pieces have all been anti-Trump, pro-Zelensky all week, and the only thing he did during the election was say we're not going to back Kamala, but he didn't back Trump.
But he's
I just get the feeling that Bezos is the smarter of all of those businessmen.
But no, right? he said that the opinion sections must back, libertarianism,
his business,
essentially.
Yeah, libertarianism in his business, and that's. I mean, I'm not saying he's a good guy. What I'm saying is he the best of those oligarchs, and he might be the one that recognizes the opportunity to split from them and leave them in a situation where they're aligned with Trump completely, and Trump takes them all down with him. Because one of the things that always struck me, I had a few dealings with the Canadian broadcasting industry years ago, and it really struck me that in Canada, they replicate American culture, but they don't let American culture in. So they have their own version of Cartoon Network, which takes a load of shows from Cartoon Network, and it has a partnership agreement with Cartoon Network, but it is a Canadian channel, their own version of Nickelodeon, their own version of all the mainstream channels as well. And it seems to me that Canada might be the one that says, okay, well, let's start doing our own social media, shall we? Because we can't let America run our social media anymore. They're the enemy, effectively. Yeah. So over the next 4 years, you might see things like that developing, which we could get on board with, because part of the Commonwealth.
Well, I mean, I think everybody should just make the sites as awful as possible. Like if I was, I don't know, some sort of rabble-rouser, I would tell people to start uploading the biggest files they could to all of those platforms and just tank all their servers. And just make them spend billions and billions of dollars to keep up their stuff, and then just like I don't know.
That's why I stream on 4K,
man. just fill their servers up with nonsense.
Yeah. Well,
hello. it's why Graham is constantly on YouTube.
Yeah, that's why he can't get rid of me.
Bring Google down all by himself.
I really don't need to be streamed in 4K. Svax, who's actually in Ukraine, says Muscovites have already poisoned one of our previous presidents, namely Viktor Yushchenko, who was president of Ukraine between 2005 and 2010, who was pro-EU, wanted to join NATO, Western-looking. And Svax is also back later saying, we're standing for all this time, not because of Zelensky, and we will continue even without him, brackets, unlike the other side. That's the thing. This is Putin's war.
The good thing is,
if Putin dies, the war ends tomorrow because the Russians aren't going to keep fighting it for no reason.
You just get a new body
was
like
at
RoboCop.
Yeah, Zelensky was at like 54% approval rating, wasn't he? Which is massively higher than Trump. But until last Friday, and now he's sort of 67% in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So they are getting behind him. But I think Svax is quite right. The Ukrainians I know, I mean, I know Ukrainians who didn't vote for Zelensky and didn't like him right at the beginning, basically. They've changed their opinion during the war, but they're still saying, well, he's still not the right politician to lead the Ukraine. We're just behind him because of the war now. Yeah. So I think Ukraine will carry on fighting. And I get a feeling Zelensky might end up offering a deal of stepping down. I get that. He
already said, I'll leave. Just put Ukraine in NATO.
Yeah, give me the right deal and I'll step down.
And I'll be completely out of your hair, because that's what you say if you actually give a shit about the people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One Angry Pagan wants me to say we're going to talk about how good it is that the UK and France are teaming up on the global stage. Yeah, I think it's awesome. Puninator, can we talk about how Vance managed to piss off the Tories over here? So over here, Mikey, the right wing are absolutely raging about the disrespect shown us by JD Vance this week when he said that we were some
random country,
a random country that hasn't fought a war for 30, 40 years, when we came to the call that the US put out, the only time that Article 5 of NATO has ever been enacted in history since 1949, when it was founded, was after 9/11, and we responded to that call, and we lost over 600 servicemen and women in Iraq and Afghanistan fighting alongside American forces. And
also,
if you want to piss off the
Ukraine
right wing,
Ukraine sent 5,000 soldiers to Iraq.
Well. Yeah. But if you want to piss off the right wing in this country, call us a random country and then dismiss the sacrifice.
Have a go at a soldier
of our military. And if what the good that's come out of this is a lot of people who supported Nigel Farage are now moving away from him, because he's been such a supporter of Trump, such a supporter of JD Vance. He was bragging about how he's been mates with JD Vance since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
before he got into politics.
Plenty of photos of Badenoch sucking up to Vance and then defending him. She's the only leader of any party that ended up defending his comments about us being
she said
useless.
He didn't say it was Britain, so we don't
didn't
know
actually say Britain and France.
About Britain,
The one thing that struck me the most.
Did you see what he was doing during his deployment over there? Writing press releases.
Reporter. Yeah.
Writing press releases.
Yeah, nowhere near the front line.
Yeah. So he can shut the hell up. Tell us what your MOS was, or shut the hell up.
Do you know you got AI to do that now?
What?
Write press releases. Just get AI to do it.
Yeah, of course. Have you seen the JD Vance memes? Fat memes.
Yeah. Did you share one of them?
Hilarious. Yeah, they're absolutely hilarious. They're like there are thousands of them now, and they're getting, because people are taking the memes that have already been created, but there is still a little element of JD Vance about them, and then they're putting those through AI as well. They're becoming so. It is going to become a meme that will just, in 10 years' time, we'll all have forgotten who JD Vance was, but it will still represent right-wing nutter with eyeliner on, basically.
I mean, he'll never be trusted around a couch. That's just,
exactly. Yeah.
Truth or lie, we'll never trust him around a couch again.
He was sitting on a couch in the Oval Office, wasn't he? They brought a couch.
Good thing Rubio wasn't wearing a brown suit.
He was rubbing it. He was kind of like caressing the couch.
With his short trousers.
Yeah.
He's a sectional.
Chris C is saying, but Canada is perfectly capable of defending herself. Well, this is the thing. Like,
against
NATO
America,
is
maybe
a lot more powerful, and Europe, I think, for many years has felt like it was kind of always playing second fiddle to America when it came to its military might, and also its economy. We didn't really talk, even during the whole Brexit thing, about how the economy of all the EU countries put together was absolutely fucking huge. And also you got 500 million people who live here as well.
And put together, we've put more money into Ukraine than America.
Yeah.
I mean, America's the biggest single donor. Totally get that.
Yeah.
But if you look at America as a bunch of states that add up to a country, basically, then it's no different to what Europe's being.
Isn't it like 300 million people in Europe?
No, 500 million. More than 500. There's 450 million in the EU, and then there's about 70 million here in the UK. And then you've got people in Switzerland, Norway, throw them in as well. And then you've got the Balkan countries that aren't part of the EU.
Ukraine.
Yeah, you've got Ukraine,
Turkey.
Moldova, Turkey. Yeah.
Canada. Yeah.
Apparently 80 million Turkish people are coming here because they're going to join the EU, and then just going to turn
We're still waiting.
We're still waiting for that to happen.
I think we could do with a few of them, couldn't we? Build some weapons for us.
Sorry, Mikey.
So this is the unfortunate position that both of our countries find ourselves in, is that our leadership, whether past or present, has now put us at the kids' table, where the rest of the thinking, intellectual, serious world no longer takes us seriously. We are the idiot kids with the dunce cap who have to sit out in the hall because we cannot stop disrupting class. And it sucks, it sucks when you can't rely on your country to do the right thing because of the bad, like, I'm sure the UK would love to pour 10 times the support that they are doing now into Ukraine, but they can't, right? Because of Brexit. Like they screwed it up. Like they screwed this up, and now people are going to suffer for it. And just like Trump is in there,
we were the test case for you guys.
You guys were the canary in the mine.
Yeah.
For the right wing online propaganda getting into getting an authoritarian or a regressive boogeyman into office like that. Like you guys were the canary in the mine for that. And now that we're so deep in the mine and the gas is here and we're all choking and we don't have any alternatives now other than to wait for somebody to come and save us. I mean, we can start digging, which I mean, I think we should like maybe put up some of the dirt behind us so we can try to block some of the gas. But it's been done. Like they have doomed us to be in the back seat until the adults pull over, and then we can have a talk about who should actually be driving. Like we're no longer in that position. We have lost that position. Like it's not like, oh well, we'll try to get back. No, it's gone. Like y'all's position and our position is gone. Like he has literally betrayed a ally during their time of war. We do not recover from that. We are not trusted.
It's a trust thing, isn't it? This is like if you're in a relationship, one party cheats without permission, it is never the same again. Because how can you trust that person? And you might be able to bodge the relationship back together, but it's always going to be there. And that's America now. Can we trust?
Do you remember that time you ran off with Putin without telling me you were going to do that?
Yeah. I think, here's a theory for you. I think that all these right-wing twats like Nigel Farage, Steve Bannon, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, and Vladimir
Stephen
Putin,
Miller,
I think they met up in 2012 after the London Olympics because they saw that and they went, fuck. You know what? There's a whole generation of kids coming up and they're not going to want to be horrible. They're not going to want to be evil, bigoted little bastards like what we are. And, we don't want that. The liberals are building a world that we don't want to live in because we won't be able to just, murder with impunity. And I think that's where the plan
I just want to yell the R word. I just want to yell the R word. So take my country as long as I can say the R word.
Yeah. That'll please them. The interesting thing is going to be the World Cup that Canada and the USA are hosting.
Well, they can't because of the visa situation. It's going to be a nightmare. Right. I mean, first of all, America's not ready for it. And secondly, like allowing the fans and even the footy teams to be able to go between the three countries is going to be impossible with Trump in power. Plus, I don't think they should be allowed to have it. It's like the Olympics. I think it should be taken away from them.
Yeah, but then, they do host them in Qatar and Saudi Arabia as well. So I'm not entirely sure FIFA is the best organisation to stand up for democracy in this one.
Someone's trying to get into your safe, Mike.
Yeah.
Did they not know your birthdays? You've given
it
away.
001.
Somebody's trying to quietly cook in the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
But every device in our kitchen goes beep.
I love that Mike is a Pisces, just like me. It's all good.
Yeah. Did I mention it's my birthday on Sunday?
Yes, you did. But no, I mentioned it and you said I shouldn't have mentioned it, so I thought I'd just
It's actually the first year I can't be bothered with birthdays ever. And I'm going out with a bunch of mates on Sunday who've helped me through the last 2 or 3 months. And my son's coming down as well. And I'm actually really quite looking forward to not celebrating the birthday, but celebrating pretty much the end of my treatment. Finishes in 4 or 5 weeks' time.
Oh, brilliant.
So, yeah.
Well, should I hang off coming down to Brighton until you finish your treatment and I'll come down and we'll celebrate?
Yeah, come down after definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it. Do you know who else was a Pisces? Albert Einstein.
Hitler.
No,
that's very much A, don't believe in this.
I think Hitler
B, very much like Trump saying my uncle went to Harvard or whatever it is he keeps saying. MIT, yeah.
Albert Einstein was also born in the year ending 79, like me. Just saying.
And which form of new physics have you discovered?
Yeah, tell me about how you figured out time. Tell me how you figured out time dilation. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the speed you're going and the force of gravity around you, because gravity affects time.
Yeah, I think we should cut it off. We should cut it off at that point, because that sounded okay.
Yes.
If you carry on, you'll be demonstrating.
I'm not going to carry on more than that.
Einstein's fellow Piscean genes didn't rub off on you.
Well, you know, Catherine, she's a physics PhD.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. Put
So
Catherine on. She can tell us.
She can tell us. She can tell us this special theory of relativity. John C., thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. It's very nice of you. Trump allies are already having secret meetings with previous and potential presidential alternatives to Zelensky, such as Poroshenko and Tymoshenko.
That'll be the dangerous thing if Russia and America get together and decide who's going to be the next president of Ukraine.
Yes. Which is the plan.
That's what Zelensky's got to defend against, because obviously that's how Zelensky got elected himself, by kicking out the favoured Russian candidate.
Yeah. Futum Stunk says Graham's theory of relativity is E equals ADHD squared. Have all three of us diagnosed with ADHD?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm not diagnosed.
You're not diagnosed.
I'm on the drugs.
You're on the drug. You're on the drug. I'm on the drug. Kills River Phoenix. Sorry. Sing that. Too soon.
Changed my life, I'd like to say. Probably gave me cancer. It's probably those bloody. I started doing drugs. Oh, hang on.
Oh my god.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
You thought it was cigarettes, but actually.
Okay, it was the Tory government's plan to deal with all these ADHD cases that were coming up. Yeah, just give them some drugs that give them bloody arse cancer, and we'll get rid of them. Great.
Pete's Music's made a really good point in the chat. But did Einstein travel to every country in the world?
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah, and he didn't brag about it, Graham.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Einstein published any books at all, Graham.
Man of the world.
Maybe there's
There's a paper about it.
There's a paper about it.
Some scientific journal.
How Einstein discovered time dilation. He sat on his pocket watch. Says Ernie Burns. You two need to set your cameras to set focus, like what I've got here. So your camera doesn't go out of focus no matter what you do.
Definitely messes about with focus.
I blame
focus.
Sorry.
I blame Zoom.
Yes.
Because I can turn it off when I'm on, what's it called? Actually, I could still turn it off, I think.
Oh, Mikey, they're doing away with Skype. I need to talk to you about this.
I know.
You use Skype.
I know.
Yeah. You know, I get a little message on my phone when you guys go live on Skype. I'm like, why are you telling me? Not on YouTube, but on Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're part of the conversation.
So I can jump on whenever I want and just go.
You could.
Brilliant.
Skype is still heavily embedded in Windows.
Yeah, but it's going to be Teams. It's
going to be
they're going to switch it over in the next update, aren't they?
In May.
But they made it shit. Like I can't believe that Skype wasn't the thing that everyone used during lockdown. Like Zoom just came out of nowhere and said, you can use it for free.
Microsoft have classically invented the solution to problems we didn't know we'd got, and then let somebody else turn it into an effective business. Messenger. Even before Messenger, what was it called before Messenger? But they invented instant chat, didn't they? Basically, and then they let WhatsApp.
Do you remember GeoSites?
Steal. Oh God, yeah. Web browsing, they invented that, and let Google deal with that.
Yeah, but then they had to branch it off because of monopolies and mergers and stuff.
I'm lying, and there'll be some nerds in the chat that will definitely tell me I'm completely wrong that Microsoft invented web browsing. They did not. It was Mosaic, and it was Tim Berners-Lee, and I accept that.
Netscape Navigator, them were the days.
Absolutely.
Oh, they had a clip on John Oliver the other week, and it was they were talking about the internet back in 1995, and they had this senator who was going, "Oh, there's all pornography on it. There's all pornography," and they showed a clip of like a JPEG of
downloading
the I think it was like Playboy or something. And it was downloading line by line.
Do you remember when the internet came on discs, prepaid discs that would give you it had the permissions to give you a certain allotment of time and all that stuff.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Y'all weren't there, man. It was bad. It was bad.
I don't want to go hark on about my impending age increase at the weekend, basically. But I remember when there was no World Wide Web.
So do I. I remember before the internet.
But I was an adult. I think you might not have been an adult when that happened, basically.
The first 18 years of my life were bloody exciting. Like from going from Space Invaders in 1979 to Tomb Raider 3 in 1997 was just GoldenEye. Okay, so Space Invaders to GoldenEye. The first 18 years of my life. That was the sequence right there.
This is how I did. GoldenEye was my bonding game with my kids. That was the game. That was the game the three of us would play at weekends. Basically, it was the best thing.
It is absolutely the best. Did you unlock all the secret levels and everything?
Yeah, no, I was rubbish at it. They hated me playing along with them. But
it's the library level where you've got to do it in like 30 seconds and then jump out the window at the end. That was hard. But we
never got that far. I just wandered around randomly shooting my own kids, basically.
Yeah, to go from like the ZX Spectrum all the way to the internet, like the birth of the internet in the 90s.
Well, the birth of the World Wide Web. I have to stress this. I do a presentation about this. The internet was invented by DARPA in the 1950s as a way of preventing a breakdown of communications in the event of a nuclear war.
Yeah.
Which is ironic now that the internet is such a big American business, basically, and they're about to start a nuclear war with Mexico or Canada.
Yeah, and or Canada. But yeah,
maybe we should just send our nuclear missiles to Canada.
Yeah. When I left school in 1997, no one had an email address, no one had a mobile phone. And then by the time I finished university 3 years later, everyone had an email address, everyone had a mobile phone. Those 3 years were just like, wow. And it was just like new stuff coming out all the time.
They simply didn't exist in my childhood at all. We literally had, if you wanted to ring a girlfriend, you went out to a phone box and you stood in a queue.
After 6 o'clock, it was 10p for an hour.
Yeah.
10p for an hour, freezing your ass on a phone box.
You'd have people banging on the door while you're trying to talk to your girlfriend, basically. Oh, it's my turn.
No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Hang up.
I've run out of money. I'll hang up.
We had a phone box across the road from my parents' house. And we knew the number for it, so it was right next to a bus stop as well. So we'd call it, do prank calls all the time. And people would be walking past, the phone's ringing, you like answer it. You go, I'm on fire, and then you put the phone down and something, laugh for an hour.
Did you know Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak's first business was a dial box that they created, a blue box to put on a telephone so you could make international phone calls for free?
Oh wow!
Because it used an audio tone to indicate which network you were on, and that was their first business. Wozniak built this box for Steve Jobs.
So basically, it was pirate software, pirate internet. Yeah.
Apple is founded on stealing things.
Everything's founded on stealing things. The British Empire was founded on stealing things. America was founded on stealing things. The American film industry was founded in Hollywood.
Here we go.
Because there was no.
Didn't take him long, Mikey. Didn't take him long. No working class scousers in Hollywood. That was the problem.
There were no copyright laws. Edison had the patent for the film camera in New York, but he didn't have it in California. So they all moved to California and had knockoff versions of his film camera. So
wasn't it?
The American film industry was built on piracy.
Can someone in Hollywood please buy one of Graham's scripts so he can stop whinging about things he cannot change? Like
what?
No one has
I'm not whinging. That wasn't a whinge. How was that a whinge?
You have a deep, dark vendetta against Hollywood, and I need you to admit that right now.
I do not. I love Hollywood. I love loads of movies. I've got Hollywood movie posters on the wall over there. Why would you say I hate Hollywood?
It's kind of love-hate relationship, I think.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Hollywood makes some really good movies, and whenever a
passive
director
aggressive, maybe.
Yeah, passive aggressive.
Mikey, when a director decides they're not, they're going to bypass the Hollywood system and pay for the movie themselves, you end up with Megalopolis or Star Wars Episode 1. And we don't want that. No, Hollywood's fine.
I loved Episode 1.
Or almost any De Niro project on Netflix. Basically.
But just stick to your own stories. There's loads of good superhero stories in America. Fine, make them. Marvel comic book universe, fucking brilliant. Go for it, right?
Cowboy movies.
Stop stealing all our ideas and making the money out of it.
There it is.
But then, Mikey, it's not all your fault because we don't actually make the stories ourselves, which we totally could do because a lot of them are out of copyright and anyone can make a fucking story about Sherlock Holmes or Dracula or Frankenstein. We just choose not to. Kevin Crossan, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Space is still the best at game, bar none. Space is still the best at game, bar none? I don't really understand, but thank you. Thank you for that. Space.
Is it Space the TV series? Or
Space.
Or The Final Frontier? I don't know. Ernie Burton says Holly wouldn't.
You get a Kermit sprinkle for that one. Just
someone
really
earlier. I'm sorry, I didn't see who it was, but someone else. When we were talking about the fountain, when we were talking about what's his name, Saramucci's fucking fountain.
Scaramucci's fountain.
This fountain goes up to 11. Which I quite like. Thank you for that. Whoever you were,
Graham. Yes. What's your you like Guillermo del Toro?
Of course, yeah.
I think he is the most underrated director and director of or creative or executive producer that our generation will see. But no one will watch his movies because they're like, I'm not reading subtitles, and he's like, I'm not putting my movie in English just for you bastards to watch it. And it's just I feel like he's
fucking amazing.
I can't stop watching. I probably watched that movie 300 times. Same thing with Hellboy. Hellboy 1 is just so good. It's so intricate. And then they followed up with 2. It's almost do you remember The Busy World of Richard Scarry? That's each scene of his movie. There's 14 little side things going on in the background. Yeah. And it's just, it's splendid. Everybody go watch a Guillermo movie today.
Do you know what? I get sad. When I watch a Guillermo del Toro movie. Do you know why? Because he didn't get to do the Hobbit movies.
Because
he wanted to, didn't he?
He couldn't live in New Zealand for 4 years. He's got kids and other businesses to run. He's like, dude, you got to hurry this up. I got to get back.
There were locations he could have filmed it in instead of New Zealand, I guess.
No, but I mean the story with that was that Peter Jackson, he had to stand in at the last minute when Guillermo del Toro couldn't do it. And they basically said, if you don't direct this, it's going to be directed somewhere else, not in New Zealand. And he had over 1,000 people lined up, ready to work on these movies for 2-3 years.
He has single-handedly built a film industry in New Zealand, Peter Jackson, isn't he?
Yeah.
Kieran really didn't need to pay again to tell us that he meant Space Invaders.
Space Invaders, still the best game.
Thank you, Kieran.
Thank you, Kieran, for the extra £2 for that.
Because famously, to bring it back to politics, Elon Musk, who's never invented anything in his life, claimed that he wrote a game and made money out of that in South Africa, and it was a rip-off of Space Invaders.
He can't even play a video game. He has to pay a Chinese kid to play 36 hours a day. Dude, you suck at the games that no one's even keeping track of. That game is such a try-hard game that most casual players have never even heard of it, because once they look at it, no thanks. I'll go back to Elden Ring or something easy. You know what I mean? That game is ridiculously hard for no reason other than to be a time suck and for people to brag about how good they are at the biggest time suck game that there is. And then he lies about that. And then tried to stream it in front of people as if they wouldn't know, because he assumes that you're all stupid just like him.
Well, I think there's a group of people who don't really give a shit about politics, and they only take an interest in it when there's an election or something. There's some people that just don't care at all. I
just had an argument with one the other day. I agree 100%.
But
he still doesn't care.
The people, I think the problem we've got really is the people who are politically engaged, but also politically naive and just go along with, the name they've heard. And the fact that so many Americans seem to want politics to be WrestleMania. That's the scary thing. And that was so well predicted by Mike Judge in the movie Idiocracy, which is set 500 years in the future, by the way. Not 20 years in the future, 500 years in the future. But we got there a bit faster.
You got it right. Well, it's entirely WrestleMania. Jon Stewart did a segment on it the other day.
It's worse than WrestleMania.
Apparently in WWE last week, I didn't know The Rock was back in WWE, and I don't know much about anything to do with WWE, but apparently the guy that's the current hero teamed up with the guy that used to be a hero, and then he turned on him, sided with The Rock, and now it's all flipped. And Stuart was using that as an example of what's just happened to Zelensky, and saying that Trump is now siding with the Undertaker or whoever it is, basically, to try and explain it. And when you think about it like that, Trump's a massive fan of wrestling. He's just appointed the head of one of the wrestling fakeries as the head of education. Yeah, Linda McMahon. And the whole thing is
her
WWE.
sole job is to get rid of it, by the way.
And the Zelensky fight last Friday was WWE Grand, wasn't it?
You know how barbecues were invented to get men to cook meat outside, right? WWE was invented to get men to watch soap operas
and wear lycra,
because they looked at soap opera ratings and they found that 95% of people who watched soap operas were women, and they were like, okay, we need to get men watching these soap operas. How do we do it? And they realized that they had these very muscular,
put them in their underwear,
oil them up, get them to grapple each other, in a homoerotic way, and men would
lots of grunting.
And a little bit of a backstory each week
have some terrible acting and
I want to hump you on the ground.
But it's
I loved it when I was a kid.
Soap opera for inadequate men.
And it's where it's either the genius of Trump or the accident of Trump, that Trump understands that world completely, and he knows that's what Americans are playing into.
He's always wanted to be in. He's been on WWF a few times. And I'm not calling it WWE. It's not my fault y'all got sued and lost your name. Fuck you, Vince McMahon. It's like he's always wanted to be. He's always wanted to own the New York Giants, and you can't buy an NFL team unless the rest of the owners are okay with it. Like that's their little, their insider boys club. And they never let him in. Like, 'cause they're like, oh, look at you. You're just a shitty casino owner. Get the fuck out of here. We're like actually rich. Like, you just suck. Like, get out of here. She's like, I'm going to go to wrestling. And then the wrestler was like, we'll have you on a couple spots, but we're not really interested in coming down to Atlantic City to like start doing episodes. So just gonna like, and that's the thing. He's always getting that. You're rich.
I think that's the key factor of all of these guys. It's the story of Putin. It's the story of Farage. It's the story of Trump. Fathers that beat them.
Trump's dad would never be in the same room with him long enough to beat him. He did not care about that little shit.
Yeah, but then constantly trying to impress some adult male, basically, constantly trying to be in the posh clubs. Farage's problem with the establishment is that he wasn't far enough in it in the right way. In order to be accepted by them all. He didn't quite go to the right private school, didn't quite go to the right university, and didn't quite work for the right bank. So they all laughed at him. And that's what turned.
And he's going to get his
revenge.
The
artist Hitler into Hitler, isn't it? It's the revenge of.
I'll get you
weakling.
I'll teach you to love
Alex
me.
in the chat. I'm sorry. I feel really bad now saying inadequate. I just meant men. Just like, when I'm saying inadequate, I'm talking about Trump voters in particular. But I understand. I get it. We've watched a bit of wrestling, haven't we? We've all watched.
If you treat it as entertainment, it's kind of fine. But
as long as you don't think it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, wrestling was great, and then I was like, ooh, girls. And I never looked back. Girls are pretty, and I just never looked back.
I mean,
why did I spend so many years watching men oiled up in pants, basically, when there's winning?
It's entertaining. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, it is. You're right.
Or whatever. I mean, but I guess in the way, like in the UK, we call it the footballification of politics, where people go on and on about their team over everything else, even though their team is shit and never win anything. Everton. In America, it's the wrestleization of politics. They've turned it into
wrestleification,
WrestleManification.
WrestleManification of politics.
And it wouldn't be, because you can't even say like the footballification of it, because when it comes to sports, especially like American football or basketball or heaven forbid baseball, they know the starting five, they know the starting lineup, they know all the alternates, they know the coach, they know where the guy coached before that. I swear to you, I do this every time I debate somebody. Whenever I have to debate anybody from the right wing, first question always, what district are you in? None of them friggin' know. Like they don't know the basics of civics, but they want to treat it like, you know what I mean? Like it's less than wrestling. It's less than that because they don't even know the backstory of their character. You know what I mean? Like they don't even know like who the real rivalries are and like what winning actually looks like. They have no idea. Like
But this comes back to the point Graham was making earlier as well. We have the same problem here. You know, I go out knocking on doors for the Labour Party when there's an election, be it local, county, or national. And most people that you knock on the door of have got no idea who's responsible for what anywhere. You know, they'll say, "I want the potholes fixing." I'm going, "Well, it's a national election. They might be able to leak some money down, but it's really the council that you need to talk to about your potholes." Yeah. And then they go, and then you stand there going, "But which road are you talking about?" Because it's the county council for the big roads, and it's the local council for this, you know. And you kind of go, actually, it is a bit of a shitty system, and we ought to change it. It should be clearer for people. We shouldn't have these confusing layers of different. And to be fair, the Labour Party are trying to fix that at the moment with these unitary authorities. So.
But then again, if you have a problem with how the roads are being managed. If only there was a council meeting for you to go to and voice your grief. Oh, wait, there has always been one. But instead of doing that, they like to get on Twitter and they like to get on Facebook and bitch about things rather than, I don't know, fix the problem. Tell people where the problem is so that they can fix it. But instead, they're supposed to just instantly have a camera on every single square inch of the road. And if it doesn't get filled within 24 hours, then you know what? Maybe I'll just vote for the Nazis. Like that is the dumbest. Like if that's
what time to be alive?
Like if that's the measure of how we're supposed to like get that's what I'm saying. Like they don't know how to even save themselves at this point because they have forsaken their ability to learn. They are unable to learn shit that they don't understand, and that's. I mean, I can do so much. I mean, the channel does as much as we can, and we try to like explain to people in simple, plain terms. That's not how that works. No. What you're saying is wrong. No, it's not because I'm a liberal cuck, whatever name you want to throw on there. It's like, no. But you're missing it. You have a representative whose job is to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. Do you know?
And the problem is that you're then in a position where you're telling them they're wrong and stupid. They don't understand the system, and they get angry with you. And
look, it sucks.
And I'm not saying that's your fault. That happens to me all the time.
It hurts to be dumb. And I've definitely walked into a couple of arguments where I was positive that I knew what I was talking about. And I was completely off base and I had totally missed the point. And then you know what you have to do? You have to be an adult and say, sorry, I thought it was this, and it's actually that. You were right. You got me on that one, but still I have another thing. But
okay, just before you go on to the other thing, can I just say thank you for the super chat to Johnny B. Thank you, sir. Go on.
Thanks, Johnny B.
Johnny.
Yeah, like it's hard to learn things if you're stubborn. But if you want to just not be dumb forever, then you just open your ears and maybe don't talk so much, and you can just kind of observe. Well, I don't trust Google these days. Well, everything's an AI wrap up of some random answer.
My dad used to say, like, just if you don't know what you're talking about, just don't say anything.
Just shut up.
Let people think you're daft. Instead of proving it by talking.
Say the three blokes that have been on a podcast for 2 hours expressing their opinions about the world. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. But no, I'm trying to call people who are stupid. I'm trying to just call them lazy instead, because I feel like if you call them stupid, then they just close off. But if you say, like Mikey was saying, if you can't be asked going to a council meeting, then what do you expect? And then you're not calling them stupid for not knowing there's a council meeting.
And you don't even have to go to the council meeting. You can just email the councillor. But the number of times around here I've knocked on doors and people have said, well, I want to give the Greens a chance. So you go, you've got a Green councillor, don't you? Basically, and you've had a Green councillor for the last 8 years. How much more chance do you want to give them? Basically, it's like,
what's your feelings about the Greens? We were talking earlier about how we don't really do videos on slagging off other progressive parties.
Well then, Don't ask me what I think about the Greens.
Well, you've got them down in Brighton. Now I have.
Well, we fought them in the last election, and we had a really good candidate, Tom Gray, a guy that you know.
Yep. He's been on the social.
Local guy, and well, I mean, Liverpool originally, but he's lived here for 20 years, made it his home, and great campaigner, great door knocker. You know, he would knock on my door at 8 o'clock at night and say, "I've got half an hour spare. Let's go and knock on some doors." During the election, he was awesome.
Plus,
and we were up against the Greens,
who were one of the best bands of the 90s.
Right,
Bring It On is one of the best albums of the 90s.
Some of the best nights were when you'd knock on a door and somebody would open the door, see Tom Gray there, and get down on their knees and go, "Glastonbury, 1997. I love you."
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Yeah. But and regardless of all of that, right, it's a mate, and I was embedded in it, and I get why I got upset with them. But the momentum, we had a major problem in Brighton with momentum and Corbynistas. We had some serious anti-Semites involved in the Labour Party, and that was their reason for being there. And we got rid of them all. It was one of the reasons I got involved in local politics, was to get them out of the Labour Party again.
Good job.
And they all joined the Greens. And then everybody around me, all of my neighbours, are voting Green because they think they're all lovely tree huggers, basically. And I'm like, oh, you should see some of these people. You should talk to some of these people and find out what their politics are, because they're more interested in sorting out Gaza than they are sorting out your potholes. And, you know, I get it, Gaza's a problem, but that's all they're standing on around it, basically. They were walking around in Palestinian flags and encouraging everyone to call us genocidal maniacs, basically. Yeah.
George Dawes, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Trumpian politics, the WWE-ification of politics. Does that work? I gotta say W.
Edification?
The wrestlification. So when I was in university, I ran for general secretary, and I always thought it was really funny at the start of each lecture that, you know, everyone who's candidates would go and stand before the lecture hall. And I worked at the bar at the time, and I wasn't politically affiliated. I wasn't in any political party, but it was, you know, left leaning. And I would stand there and I'd say, vote for me for general secretary. Here's all the things I want to do. And I had a big list of stuff, and it was things like improving student safety, so getting better street lights on the student corridor along Oxford Road in Manchester. There's a safety bus that goes out. Does anyone in here know about the safety bus? No one put their hand up and said, look, there's a safety bus. You can call it any time of the day, and it will come and pick you up from anywhere in Manchester and take you home. You know, so don't walk home alone. We can get the safety bus out to you. I want to have a card with that number in everyone. This is before mobile phones, so it's like, you know, I want a card with that number in.
I already want to vote for you, Graham.
Student's wallet on their you know, their student card. It will actually have the number in emergencies that you can call this safety bus, and all this, and like, you know, bringing down the price of the beer in the student union bar, and all this kind of stuff. Right. The next guy will get up and he'll be a Green, and he'll say, "Vote for me, and I will stop NATO aggression in the South Balkans." And I'm just like,
yeah, that's it.
Fuck, like you're in charge of a student union building. It just always blew my mind. It was just bizarre. Yeah. And by the way, the beer thing was costed because we had gigs on, and when it was a gig night, we like doubled the price of the beer. My plan was to put it up a bit more than that, so the people who were coming for a gig subsidised the student beers.
See, that's the way to do politics.
Yeah,
but we fought an election. We fought an election in July and lost because it was all about Gaza. Apparently, the people of Brighton were more concerned about Gaza.
Out of 4,000 votes, Mike, I lost by 12.
Oh man, that's a recount.
An email went out to every member of the Islamic Society in Manchester at the time, saying that I was gay and Jewish. Thanks for that. And that would normally require the election to be run again, but that didn't happen because the returning officer was the ex-girlfriend of the guy I was running against. And the current general secretary was the girlfriend of the guy I was running against, and he's the guy who won.
Do you think this traumatic moment in your life is why you're not an MP now?
Yeah, this happened the summer before George W. Bush stole the election off Al Gore. It went to a council meeting, right, where I pled my case for rerunning the election. I didn't say, look, make me the general secretary. I said, look, this is obviously very bad that this email, you're not supposed to, you weren't supposed to send emails about the election at all. And people were turning up to vote with this email that had a list of the people to vote on, right? So I was like, okay. And the final vote in the council was 15-16 against rerunning the election. And the 16th vote was the head of the students' sports union, who had never been to a council meeting before and happened to be the housemate of the current general secretary, whose boyfriend was about to become general secretary. That was my first foray into politics, and I was like, fuck this to death forever. I'm out of here, guys. And so when Trump wins, when George W. Bush wins, when Brexit happens, I'm the least surprised. I'm like, yeah.
So when you're like, oh man, you really have like a thing against Nancy Pelosi, she did the same fucking thing. So on a different network at a different time, me and a couple of buddies would interview progressive candidates on our podcast. And we had like something like 60 different people come in.
Wow.
And one of the most empathetic progressive people we ever had ran against Nancy Pelosi, and she launched a smear campaign against him, calling him a PDF file. And lo and behold, they retracted all of it, but it was too late, and they had already poisoned the well. Yeah. Democrats do it too.
Yeah.
Green Elf in the chat saying, I might have been at Manchester Uni around the same time as you, Graham. I hope you voted for me.
Did you vote for Graham? That's the important thing. Yeah.
I ran with Johnny Reynolds. Johnny Reynolds ran for internals officer in the same year, and he won. He won his election. I didn't. And now he is Secretary of State for Business.
There you go.
There you go. The path
sliding doors.
Sliding I could have taken in life had I not been given a shit sandwich by the Greens.
There you go.
So I'm a little bit bitter, maybe not that bitter, but 25 years later.
If I don't hear anything from my fucking rep, I might fucking primary harass myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm dead ass because she is.
Yeah, go for it, Mikey.
I haven't heard a word from her.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, my MP here in Durham, Mary Foy, she's brilliant. She's really good, really responsive. She's helped me out twice so far. Once with getting subtitles on the community cinema, and the other time was when we had a Ukrainian family come to stay with us, and the paperwork was being held up for no reason whatsoever, and she actually brought it up in the House of Commons for me with Priti Patel.
Nice. I haven't even seen my Green MP in the House of Commons. I'm sure she turns up occasionally. It's next to Nigel Farage.
Says, plot twist: Green Elf ran against Graham back then.
Yeah,
possibly.
Actually, Green Elf sent the email. That's probably what happened.
Sent the email. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay or being Jewish. Do you know what I mean? No. Like, if I was, fine, but like, you're not supposed to send out emails.
No,
that was the rule, and it went to something.
There are
like
rules, you see, and this is why we've got no idea what to do in a world occupied by Trump, because he doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
And we're rubbish at not playing by the rules, really.
Well, no, he's playing by the rules. He's just swinging the hammer that he's given. And whenever people on the left get handed the hammer, they just place it gently on a pillow, dust it nicely, and then put a glass case over it. And they say, we don't use that. Now let's get this money. Like,
I need to look after this for the Republican that will come after me.
Right. I need to make sure this is nice and clean for when the Hitlers come bludgeoning the innocent with it. Like that. Unbelievable.
I'm laughing, but I'm crying inside. Mikey, I said at the beginning of all this, of not this episode, but just all this shit that's going on right now, America's done for as we know it. The end of America as we know it. Do you think there is any way back now to the way it was, or do the things have to fundamentally change for America to ever move? Well, ever to get back to where it used to be, or
Well, just like we'll never get the '80s back, where everybody's like got weird hair and ugly clothes and bad music. Just kidding. Like eras come and go, right? But the damage of this era can be mitigated. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mitigate itself by just waiting for the next era to start. Like, this is an active process. Democracies are an active process. Our Constitution is a living document, and people need to treat it as such, as opposed to these are the rules and this is all I can do. Well, if the rules aren't serving the people, then the rules need to change. Yeah. Period. If the people that are in charge are not serving the people, then those people need to change. Period. It gets real basic and real simple. But if people want to lie down and acquiesce and not put up a fight, I mean, black people could have just been like, well, I guess we can't vote. They're the ones in charge right now. We're only 13% of the population. Well, probably about 10% back then. 10% of the population. What can we do? You radicalize the white kids around you and you make everybody know that what they're doing is immoral. You find a way to convince the majority that they're doing things against their own best interests, that they're going against their own morals, that they're defying their own religions. You use all of it. Yeah. And you change things for the better so that the next generation can cement that into place if you can't cement it in yourself. Instead of what we have now, which is we did all of this pushing and pushing and pushing, and then they put Weekend at Bernie's up there, and he literally just looked out for rich people. Yeah. And then what, the rich people were supposed to like make sure that you guys got back in? No, they went for the guy that was going to cut all of their taxes. So it has to go back to people power. Citizens United be damned. And yeah, until people feel this pain and get pissed off, if you're not pissed off, you need to be pissed off. Yeah. Because when you get pissed off, I can use that energy and we can turn this thing around. But if everybody wants to just like give up and feel sad and all that stuff, hey, it's March 7th. You've had your cry time. Get the fuck up and let's go.
Yeah.
Stop bitching and let's go. Get on the phone, annoy, harass these public officials until they swing it back the way you want it to. And if they don't want to do it, you vote their ass out.
Yeah.
And they can sit at home and watch us be in charge.
We just got a super chat in from Lee Corn, £5 super chat. Thank you very much. At least you're not that Denton MP, Andrew Gwynn. You interviewed at that time with Johnny Reynolds. Well, I mean, you know, he seemed like a nice guy. The interview's still up if anyone wants to watch it. But he was in a private WhatsApp group, or he thought it was private, and he said, fuck your bins, which is objectively really funny. He didn't actually say it to my
podcast?
No, not your podcast. He was saying basically what he would say to a constituent if he could get away with it, which was, fuck your bins, I won the election, you know, whatever. But yeah, that WhatsApp message got leaked to a newspaper, and then they published it, and obviously that wasn't the best of ideas. So just be careful what you send anyone online. We tell our kids this, do you know what I mean? Like, this is a huge thing. We say, like, as soon as you send someone something, they can screen cap it, and that's it. It's there forever. Yeah. You can never get rid of it.
Massive mistake to do that.
Yeah. You know, for a grown man who's running for... He was a councillor at the time, but, like, still... You've got to have it in the back of your head if you want to pursue a political career, that you can't do stuff like that, you know.
Yep.
Homegirl's having a town hall. My rep, she's having one on Sunday. So
are you gonna go?
If I can, yeah. Because I'm not playing this bullshit. Like, open your goddamn mouth and start bitching for us, or I'll do it for us.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap it up there because it's coming up to the witching hour. I don't want to turn into a pumpkin at midnight.
I gotta go get my groceries.
And Maggie Fallon's got to go and get his groceries from the grocery store.
It's a word Donald Trump invented, isn't it? Groceries.
Buy his incredibly expensive eggs. Can't wait till Trump comes in. We all throw eggs at him.
He'll be trying to sell them on his sell them online on the Silk. He'll be catching the shells and selling them on the Silk Road.
Golden eggs. Maybe that's what Putin has bribed him with, a Fabergé egg.
Could well be.
A Russian egg?
A Russian egg, yeah. Blade from the arse of Putin himself. Here you go, Mr. President. I love you. And then Trump does blow kisses, saying that Russia has all the cards. What the fucking planet is he on? Yeah. The Russia that can't beat Ukraine. Okay.
It's not only that, he used that card analogy last Friday as well with Zelensky. You don't have the cards. You don't have the cards.
Zelensky said, "Yeah, 3 days. I heard it from Putin." I was like,
yeah, that was brilliant. 3 days. 3-day war.
I heard it from Putin.
We're now in the 4th year of the 3-day war.
Just before we go, Graham, what do you think of these Bulgarian Russian spies that we've uncovered this week?
Oh, yes, there's been 3 Russian spies that have been.
It's such a British story, though, isn't it? 3 Russian spies caught in a bed and breakfast in Great Yarmouth.
Yeah,
it's just not really sexy, is it? But it's a hell of a story. They look like Instagram influencers rather than spies. They seem to be sharing an awful lot of videos of themselves doing spying.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure they were a powerful network of Russian agents. I think they might have just been.
All right. I just RSVP'd.
I've just looked at some of the fucking stories on the BBC News sites. You got the 3 Bulgarians guilty of spying for Russia, right? Gene Hackman and wife, they died of natural causes 1 week apart because he had Alzheimer's, so he was on his own. No one looking after him. It's awful.
Wasn't she like 50?
She was in her 60s, yeah.
Oh.
And then a double murderer, first US inmate, executed by firing squad in 15 years. What the who signs up for that job? What? My God.
Do I remember there was some sort of trade war going on with us and we stopped selling the drugs that they used, the combination of drugs that they used. So
lethal injection.
Do you think they started getting them from Canada and now they're having to shoot people instead or something?
I don't know. I don't know how you can argue that it's wrong to kill people unless the state does it, and then it's all right.
Especially when they get it wrong all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all right. You've never killed someone who didn't totally deserve it, I'm sure.
And it's not like it's like heavily swayed towards like black and brown people.
No, not at all. Not at all. Whereas if you're white and you travel to another state and kill a couple of people, you can get away with it. You don't even go to jail.
You can traffic people and land in Florida and it's all fine.
As long as the people that you shoot are not white. I mean, if they're white and the CEO of a major healthcare company that kills Americans on a daily basis by denying them healthcare that they are paid for. They
don't even care about that.
But yeah, free Luigi.
I mean, hey, I'm just glad. What's it called? Douchebag brought back free speech as soon as they censured Al Green for talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring back free speech. Brought back comedy.
They know not what they do. Oh yeah, Musk has brought back comedy. Thank God for that.
They're funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious
again now.
Any minute now, he's going to be funny. That's going to happen.
As soon as he gets somebody, as soon as he pays some Chinese kid to like write jokes for 75 hours a day, and then he just tries to deliver them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus. Phillips says, I bet they get defunded because none of the Muskies, let alone Trump, can even spell paleontology. Well, yeah, the gutting of these federal organizations, like the science budgets, the fact that you're not allowed to publish a science paper now if it has the word woman in it. It's just
Hegskith and the Doges they're trying to change the names of things named after women in the military. So they want to change the name of Enola Gay, the plane that dropped the nuclear bomb in Hiroshima,
named after the pilot's mom.
And it literally can only be because they did a word search for the word gay. It can only be that, can't it?
Yeah.
Really? Because
what do you mean they want to change it? That's the name of the plane. What, they're going to change all the history books?
No, they are 1984ing the history books at the moment.
So what are they calling the plane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima?
They're calling it the plane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima.
You're not allowed to say its name.
But when we said, hey,
they're not naming it.
But when we said, hey, the Washington Redskins is probably not a good name for a football team. Like, oh my god,
I've been cancelled.
Can't say anything anymore.
Crazy people.
Fucking hell.
I told y'all they were racist.
Yeah. 3 Russian spies, and not one of them is Nigel Farage or Spaffer. Yeah, good point.
Great Yarmouth isn't Great Yarmouth a reform seat though?
Oh, is it? Yeah, sounds like it.
I think so, because
isn't like a shitty seaside town that they forgot.
It's not what's his name Lowe's constituency, is it? I can't remember.
I don't know.
If they find an enclave of Russian spies in Clacton, Nigel Farage won't know anything about it. He's never been there. Of course,
so. Yeah.
I don't know what Clacton is.
It's Nigel Farage's seat that he never goes to. That's supposed to be where he works.
No, that was me being Nigel Farage.
Oh, okay.
So I needed to sound more like a toad. And
it's a good impression.
And have cigarettes all over my breath.
Yeah.
I don't like you, but...
Here you go. Rupert Lowe is the MP for Great Yarmouth. Rupert Lowe today has been ditched by the Reform Party.
Yes.
And 3 Russian spies were caught in his constituency. It's all adding up.
It is all connected. I mean,
and Rupert Lowe is
for Putin. So
Rupert Lowe is Musk's favourite MP. The guy has no personality of any description, and Musk has been hammering away at he should be the leader of Reform.
Yeah, good. Let's have him as the leader of Reform in jail.
Brilliant.
For his many crimes. Oliver's saying, is that playing in the Smithsonian Museum? Is that the Enola Gay? I assume that it would be in the Smithsonian, I guess.
I would have thought they kept it there, yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of the other plane? It was Little Boy was the name of the bomb, wasn't it? And then it was Boxcar.
Batman.
Boxcar was the name of the other plane.
Boxcar, was it?
Batman.
I don't know why.
Fat Man was.
I don't know. Was the plane named after the song from the 1980s?
Yes, by OMD.
Was it?
Yeah, Andy McCluskey.
That explains the whole time dilation explanation you gave us earlier. But...
Yes, absolutely. So I went into the heebie-jeebies once in Liverpool, and there was a quiz on, and it was just me and a mate of mine, and we asked these 2 girls who were playing. We said, do you want to join up with a team? And we ended up winning the quiz. We got chatting, and one of the girls was the daughter of, I want to say David Jones, I think, or David Hughes, who was the original keyboardist in OMD. There you go. Small world, eh? Sorry?
Famous for his lockers, David Jones.
Oh, David Jones. Yeah, no, I don't think it was David Jones. He was the Monkeys, wasn't he? I think it was David Jones. David Hughes, sorry. Anyway, right. Bloody hell. I'm sorry. I'm half asleep.
You got to go now.
I got to go now.
You said goodbye 10 minutes ago.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, but there's just. I mean, the fact is, there's about 100 news stories from this week that we haven't even mentioned yet. That's how fast things are going.
I think we're just about caught up with last Sunday, basically.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. That's
the point.
It's coming thick and fast. Sometimes life comes at you fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I want to relax. I just want to go back to the way it was before pre-Trump days. You know, don't you want to just
we don't get to relax yet
for 5 fucking minutes?
I say that with every political cycle, and then some nutter turns up and makes it all horrible again. So it's
we can't relax until the work is done.
Yeah, yep. Let's get the work done. Okay, everyone, let's get the work done. Thank you so much to Mike and Mikey for joining us this lovely evening, this lovely Friday evening. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for everyone who's left a message in the chat. Thank you especially to our wonderful people who have given super chats. It's really kind of you. If you would like a little rose after your name, see some of the people there have got cute little roses. If you'd like,
that was a sphincter.
No, it's a rose. It's a digital rose designed by Scott Jones, who's the guy who designed the covers of these Arctic Monkeys albums. So there you go.
An honest mistake.
And the Zootons. And the Klaxons. And anyway, look. If you'd like to get that onto your name,
and Sphincter Monthly as well.
Join the channel. And he did Nirvana's re-release of the 20th anniversary release of
Bum As You Are, I think it was called.
Anyway, and if you'd like to join the channel, you get a little rose after your name, and you get your name in the credits. And if you know you're feeling a bit skint this week. Just give us a like. Just give a like. Doesn't cost anything. Just give us a thumbs up and let us know you're having a good time. That's it. Time to go. All right. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Bye.